that. I got that fixed. Look at when I lean, bam, we're live. When I lean back, I adjusted the focus slightly. I think I need to make it a little more shallow again also now that I have it set up a little differently. Before in the shows when I was leaning back, I was getting out of focus. Now I'm like, oh, nice and crisp. Sabir, what's up, dude? I ended up on your Instagram today. Good to see you. I'd never been, I don't know why, because I got this new Instagram account. So like I have more ability to see new people. Oh, guys, want to see something crazy? I want to see something just absolutely nuts. The new the behind the scenes trailer is done. You guys want to see a couple seconds of it? I mean, not done, but enough to where I could show you a little bit. And I don't want you guys to God, it's so crazy. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Videos and oh no, car's here. Maybe later. Hi.
Hey.
I was about to get naked.
Don't let me stop you.
Now that you're here, look at I you know what won't stop me is I wasn't feeling so good. I feel like I jumped out of an. Not that I don't feel sick, but my stomach feels like something could come up.
Oh, why?
I don't know. Just like I don't feel sick. I don't have a fever. Feel strong. I look great, right?
Yeah, you look amazing.
But just in case.
Oh no!
Because and what's crazy is I was at jiu-jitsu with my kid, and he's like, "Oh, I feel like I'm gonna throw up the whole time." I'm like, "Ah, you pussy!" And then on the way home, I was like, "Got a little bit of that myself. Got a little bit of that myself."
Just eating something off, or
where are you?
I'm at home right now. So I live on the Gold Coast in Queensland. So yeah.
That's why it looks like that's why it looks like you're in Bali. That's why it looks like you're in paradise. You are in paradise. Is it paradise?
Yeah, pretty much. Where I live, like this particular suburb on the Gold Coast is we're in like a wildlife protected area. So it's very yeah, that's my suburb, Currumbin. So yeah, we it's very like rainforesty, lots of animals, like just super chill. It's not like what people think of the Gold Coast. So like most people think of like Surfers Paradise up north there. And it's like, that's kind of like the city. I'm down right close to the border. So I'm down on the southern end and it's really like kind of small towny, really chill vibes.
Ivana, the Gold Coast is sick. That means it's good. That means it's good. I don't know. You guys in America, that means that's good.
Yeah. It is good. It is good. It's busy right now because we're in Christmas holidays. So like, I think our holidays are different than you guys. So our kids are on school holidays because we're obviously it's summer for us right now. So our summer holidays are Christmas time. So when you live in like a really beautiful part of the world that's a bit of a tourist destination, it's pretty crazy out there right now. Like the roads are wild, and so we're kind of just lay low.
Who comes? Is it the Russians and the Europeans? Like who comes? Like who Americans?
Look,
like who comes?
I don't know, man. I don't know. At the moment, it's actually just most people kind of feed in from just like a little bit further north, like from the city areas, and they just come to the beach, like, you know, maybe like an hour away, hour and a half, something like that. People just move around a little bit and, you know, but it's not as bad. Obviously, like there's people traveling internationally, but it's not quite as bad as like, say, Sydney would be. Like down that way would be like hectic, more like international tourists. But here it's kind of just a lot of people just moving around within the state or like, you know, coming to see family within Australia. So, yeah, because obviously they can hang out. It's like the one time a year they kind of just hang out at the beach. It's like Hawaii for the US, you know, or like Florida or something, I guess. I don't know.
How's the service in Australia? Like in Hawaii, it's just atrocious. Like no one could give two fucks. Like, could I get a drink? I mean, it's just horrible. Is it good?
It definitely depends on where you are. The like customer service is not as good as say like in main parts of the US because we don't work off a tipping system. So like in the US, like I found that when I first started coming over and like we were in LA, it was like people rely on those tips. So they actually would like most would put in more effort. And I was like, oh my gosh, like they try so much harder. And then here they get paid like our minimum wage is so much higher and then they don't need tips. So they're like, like it just depends. It depends on where you go. Like if someone genuinely likes their job and whatever, it's better. And then if you're in sort of more chill areas, people are a little bit nicer. It really just, it's area dependent. Where I am, everyone's pretty chill. Like it's mostly kind of like young people or like little mum, dad businesses owning cafes. Like we're riddled with cafes, like awesome food and coffee everywhere. And so it's a vibe. And most of the time people are pretty good.
So if you go to a restaurant there and the waiter or waitress is just absolutely killing it, you don't tip them.
No one really would know. Like you could, it would take something exceptional, like especially now because like no one's like really like paying cash or anything, right? And then like maybe some places.
Oh, because you don't even have a spot on the receipt to do it.
No, we don't pay like that. So we will literally, so some places you'll either go up and you'll pay when you order. Yeah. And like we're just tap system, right? So you're like, this is what I order. Okay, yeah, it's $53. Boom, done, leave.
Is there a jar on the counter?
No, like not that I can think of any places that I've been to lately. Like maybe some little small places they might put something, but like, because no one's really carrying cash, so like they're not going to really get much in there. But literally the only thing I can think of that I've seen is like our Uber Eats. That's the only thing I've seen of you can tip. And they're like, you can tip as you're ordering. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to tip you when I don't even know if you're going to like turn up on time with my food or not.
Right. Like, then it's like, if you have to tip before, then it's like, do I want you to spit in my food or not?
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, no, where I come from, you've got to work for it. Like, and then if you were good and you turn up on time and didn't like sit around and, take 20 minutes longer than you're supposed to or whatever. But yeah, we don't really tip. We just kind of pay. But in saying that, everything's expensive, so we pay for it, you know what I mean? And like, because minimum wage is higher or whatever, like you're having to cover those costs, like people are passing those costs on, so it's not cheap to buy food.
Live on the Gold Coast.
It's definitely not cheap to live on the Gold Coast. Yeah.
Lucky Camera Straps, which is ironic because this is like one of the greatest tippers to the show. This guy always gives money to the show from Australia.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Australia's favorite CrossFit athlete. Hey, Kara. Kata.
What?
Kara.
I don't care. Everyone's always like, oh, do I pronounce it like this or that? And I'm like, well, look, we say it like Kara, but I also say a lot of words differently than you do because you have a different accent than me. So like, if you say it like Kara, I'm not going to be offended.
Yeah, you never have. I do both.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Like if you called me like Jane and didn't know my name.
What if I called you Tia?
Oh, we're just all the same, right? There you go. Aussie females, you're just the same person. Aussie female CrossFitters.
Hey, has anyone ever called you Tia?
Oh, you know what? I've
had to have happened.
No, but I've been called Sarah.
Oh.
Like as in Sigmund's daughter, and I don't know whether it was like because it's like her name is like Sara and then I'm Kara.
Just wires like being crossed.
Yeah, it was like on Instagram or something, and it was probably maybe someone who wasn't super familiar with CrossFit. I don't know, and I was like, okay, cool, man, whatever. I don't care that much.
What are you doing? You have 2 kids. You birthed a kid on the internet.
I did, yeah.
Dude, amazing. We showed it on the show. Amazing.
Yeah, we're like one of my friends was like, "Gosh, like, that was savage." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
You're the greatest role model in the history of CrossFit.
Oh, thanks.
You truly are. I'm not joking. You really. That is one of the single greatest gifts you could give to a child is letting them just be born, just straight at home, just straight out of the vagina, and just let them just be cool. Like, what a great start to life.
Honestly, it was like the coolest thing I've ever done, like hands down. And I had a really good birth with my daughter, but this was like to be at home. Like I'd done a lot of
You mean the first one you had in the hospital?
The first one I had in hospital, but it was a bit different. So we were in like a birthing suite where you still have midwives. It's kind of like having a home birth, but in a hospital. So it's like a separate portion of the hospital. It's for all like I don't know if it's just an Australian thing or whatever, but it was like it's very like holistic, and you've got the water bath in there, and the midwives kind of like just leave you, and they're all a little bit hippie, and which is I was actually booked in for that down here as well, and I think this is where like I planned on being there. I was like, look, I had a good experience, and as I was kind of going for these appointments, I started to get like, I guess, the dialogue was like not sitting right with me, like in the system a little bit. It was different it was a different hospital than my first birth. And the first one was like amazing. Like they were just so good. And then this one was just like a little bit more structured and clinical. And then it was funny. I was like, I had a really long labor the first time, like days. It was so long. And this time I'd done so much more birth prep, like so much more. Like,
okay, hold on 1 second, because I want to ask you about your birth prep, but some questions are piling up. What did you hear that signaled you? There were some things that doctors and people were saying that made it like, oh, I'm doing this one at home. Can you give me a couple of those?
So like, it was just little things. Like, for instance, when I was about 36 weeks, I think I went in and they started like, for one, the midwife I had, she didn't have children. That's not the end of the world, but like a little bit of like a communication, you could sort of tell there were certain experiences where I'm like, and she was new, and this was like her first time into midwifery. And they were like saying things like, oh, he's measuring really big. And so what we'll do, it was very much like, what we'll do is if he's big, you'll just come in, I'll go talk to the surgeon, you'll have an induction, blah, blah, blah. And it was like talking about all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like that's, and I'm not one of those people that's like a type A, like this is my birth plan, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, look, to me, this is my opinion, take it or leave it. I'm like, birth is natural and real and primal. And if everything is sort of done a certain way and you live a certain way and you have a certain belief system and you are mentally, emotionally, physically prepared with the loved ones around you, it can be the most natural and just real raw thing possible. Like it's not, it doesn't need to be overcomplicated unless it's
not a medical procedure. It's not a medical procedure.
It's not a medical procedure unless it's a medical procedure, right? So like there are certain instances where we're absolutely blessed with that situation. And I feel like the message of birth has just gotten so lost along the way. And as has most things, right? From like, I base my life kind of around nature. Like, how is it sort of planned out? How is it sort of the world set out to be? And then I try and kind of like live in rhythm with that, right? As best I can in a modern world. And without being too like crazy and stressed about it. And yes, it was like, we'll do this and that and we'll induce. And it's just a constant like, oh, I'm going to show you he's big. And I was like,
you have more of a plan than I do. And you didn't want to hear like I'll tell you, when my wife was going to have her baby, we were with the OGBYN and we wanted to have it in the hospital. And she said, hey, this is a full partnership. We'll talk everything out. And I said, great. I said, one of the things I want you to do is not have the pick in her preparing to put drugs in her, because that way, if she does need the drugs or she does want the drugs, that can give me an extra step to try to talk her out of it, because that's what she wants me to do. And right away, the doctor goes, that's non-negotiable. I was like, motherfucker, you just said this is a 50-50 partnership.
Yeah. And then
I was like, ooh, uh-oh.
Yeah, there were like a few things where I was like, I really realized I was like, this woman's kind of like just ticking boxes a lot. And I had really, and I'm like, I'm not complicated. I'm in great health. I spend a lot of time and a lot of money to keep my family healthy, like, and, educate myself as best I can. And, it's just, I felt like I was kind of like under this blanket and I was like, it's fine. And I was kind of like, it's fine. And it was so funny because then when I didn't have any intention necessarily, I was open to having a baby at home because you have to be open to everything, right? Like, and I had employed the services of a local doula and who like runs a heap of courses and stuff here. And she was amazing. And
what courses?
Like she teaches doulas, like teaches people how to be a doula and does a lot of like stuff in like the birth space. And has a really positive like mindset and like everything that I wanted to consume. Like you are what you consume, right? And who you're around. So I employed her to be my woman, be our support, be Maddie's support as well in all of it. Like it was the three of us. And she was like amazing. And, we were like prepared for anything. And I was like, look, I'm pretty chill. I feel like I've done the preparation. We're really close to the hospital if shit goes down. She's been to like 5 million births and knows like we obviously knew all of the things that would indicate if something was wrong or whatever. And I was like, I feel good. I feel good in my body and I feel good in this. And So we were prepared for that, but not prepared so much as like that we had like anything set up at home. We were just like, look, if a baby decides to come out, they come out when they come out, right? Like sometimes it could be in the car or whatever. And I think mentally you just need to be open to and receptive to whatever this baby decides, because it's not me, it's the baby, right? I'm in labor and it's kind of cruising, and I'm
at home.
Where
you're at right now?
Yeah, where I'm at right now. Yeah. So I wanted to stay at home for as long as possible. I was like, I want to be in my space with my husband, with my baby girl, like where I'm comfortable. And
no part of you is like, there's no part of you already like, fuck you, bitch, I got this. I'm having this at home. When did that? Because I could see you got a little bit of fuck you in you.
Yeah, I do. But it was like it's more like a belief in myself, and like I like to do what I want to do.
That's what I
like,
meant. Not fuck you. That's what I meant. Belief in yourself. Sorry. Bad interpretation. I
do like to do things what feels right for me, and not necessarily like I don't sort of follow the crowd so much. And there was a point where like I was, cruising along, and you're in pre-labor and whatever, and then all of a sudden it started to escalate. And I got to the point where I was like, fuck, the last thing I'd want to do right now is get in the car. Like it had of just like my waters had broken. And then from there, it just like I'd probably pushed it a bit long, but I think subconsciously I didn't want to leave, and I knew I didn't want to leave. So that's why I let it go. And
was Maddie like bringing out the blankets and shit? Like I put down 30 layers of blankets and sheets and tarps, and was he like, oh shit, we're gonna have a fucking
so he'd like here. So he had fully like, this is how unprepared we were for it. So I was mentally prepared, but not like prepared as it was a plan. So I'm in the shower, then I've like my waters have broken like crazy. So I'd been in labor for a while, then they broke, and then shit just like was on. Everything went like to that next level, and I was like, oh man, like this is uncomfortable now. Like I'm really having to like get in the trenches like mentally and kind of go to my preparation place. He'd brought the bags out to the front door, everything was ready to go. Like he'd called my my business partner and our really good friend to like come and like be in charge of my daughter, like just to like help her out. And they had a photo shoot on that day, so she was going to take her and do stuff. And it was already
the daughter. How old's the daughter at that point?
She's 4.
So during the birth, she was 4.
Yep. So she came out. She was there for most of it until like the last minute, just before he was born. She went out to this photo shoot and like helping my business partner. Like the show goes on, and so she just missed it, but she was here for like all of it up until then. She said, she goes, Mum, you woke me up going, oh, I'm like making the noise, and I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm like, sorry to inconvenience you and your sleep trying to like birth someone right now, but so he had all the bags and stuff at the door, and then the doula, like Megan and him, are like, oh, we kind of need to make a decision, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like putting it off because I'm
Why
working,
did they say that? Why did they say make a decision? Why didn't someone say, Cara, you need to get in the car, sweetheart?
Because no one talks to you like
that. Because no one talks to you like that.
No, and they knew, like Maddie goes, whether he felt comfortable with it or not, he was like, it's your body, it's your decision, what you need to do and what you feel comfortable with, I've got your back and I'll trust you. And then Megan's the same, that's her thing. And she goes, unless anything, she monitors to make sure everything is like safe and that I'm okay and supported. She's giving me acupressure and, just doing all those things, just like being a real support. And they're kind of like,
can you touch the baby at that point? Like, can you put your hand down there and touch his head?
I couldn't yet. No, I couldn't yet.
Okay.
I think he just kind of went from like up to down pretty quick. Like, I think it just was like.
It is a he? You got a he? You got a girl?
Yeah.
You got a he?
Yeah, girl and a boy, yeah.
What's his name?
Walker.
Great name.
Yeah. We call him Tex, though. He's never been called Walker because we kept calling him Tex or Walker, Texas Ranger for so long as a joke, and now it's stuck. So, but anyway, we then all of a sudden she's monitoring, she's listening to my sounds pretty much. And I was like, I'm getting really primal. That was kind of my vibe. I was like, I feel like I need to really like get deep and let it out and really like immerse myself in birth. And so I'm doing that. She's hearing my sounds and the change of pace. And she's like, if that's a decision you want to make, then, we kind of need to make it. I had towels and stuff in the car just in case I had left it too long or whatever, we'll back up. And then I'm like, I just looked at Maddie and I'm like, I can't get in the car. Like, I don't want to get in the car. I don't want to go anywhere. I can't. Like, this has gotten too far now. Like, I could feel that it was really close. And we're like, this isn't going to happen. If I had have got in the car, I would have birthed him in the car. And
how's Maddie react? Even if he's scared shitless, is he cool? He's like, yeah, no problem, we got this shit.
He's so like when you think about it, he's come from an army background and he's a firefighter now. So he's so like he's on task. So like if something needs to be done, he's action immediately. He's like, so as soon as I'm like, I want to stay home, he's in getting the mats, he's got towels, he had it all ready anyway. He set it all up. He's like, here's good, checking like, and it was done. And
he's cool. He's cool. It's at home there. Cool. You want to have him in the car? I don't give a shit. We got this.
Yeah, he's like cool but not cool. Like he's like there's low key panic on the inside, but he's fully like got this. And as you are
those bugs I hear in the background, by the way? That was just like bugs flying through. They're cool.
It's like
cool.
Is it all right? It's
totally cool. They just came and went. I saw a big ass bird flying around back there for a second too.
Yeah, there's like crickets because it's summer. They're like real noisy and the birds have quieted down a bit. But so
he still looks like a hunk. He's aging well. You did good.
Yeah, he's doing well. Oh yeah, I'm punching.
Yeah,
but he's so he's ready. Please put the mats down. And honestly, it was like so quick from there, like from that moment.
Do you ever think? I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I know he finds you very attractive, and I know he thinks you're smart and beautiful and you're ambitious. But do you ever think that maybe he's just like, I want a kid from that? Like I want those I want a kid with those genetics.
Oh, look, he thinks that about me.
Yeah, like he just saw you and he's like, fuck, if I could get a couple babies from her, we will fuck shit up.
Well, look, I think a huge part of like the attraction to a person is obviously like what they also bring to the table, right? Like that's a part of it. Like what he's attracted to me is like a fit female, like a strong woman and all that kind of stuff. So like, of course he naturally like thinks, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I mean, he brought his own to the table too. He's like super fit and comes from good stock. So I appreciated that too.
my friend Travis Bajan, he says it half joking, but I also know he's half serious. His son is 6'3" and he's a quarterback in the NFL. And he really wants his son to find like a 6 foot tall Division I black girl volleyball player. And he says if they have sex, he would be the perfect human being. And if he could get like 3 boys, he could have 3 more NFL quarterbacks. He's like, I could make them. And part of me is like,
fair.
Yeah, fair. Like sure. Yeah, like I get it.
You're like, I love you and I want you to just be happy, but that'd be pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. Let me read some comments here. I apologize. It's a very cantankerous crowd. It's all over the place. The famous anchorman Ron Burgundy once said, "You have a fantastic hiney." He was clearly talking about Cara Saunders. Janelle Winston, who has 4 kids of her own, that was an amazing video. I cried my eyes out.
I love that. I got a lot of those messages. A lot of those.
Oh, it was so moving when I saw the video. It's incredible. It's so great that you did that. It's so. We'll get.
Can I tell you my?
Let me read this one and then you can tell me.
Yeah, you go.
This video was so beautiful, brought tears to my eyes, and Cara and Matt are some beautiful. Make some beautiful children. That's for sure. Okay, tell me about the feedback you get.
I was gonna say that I think one thing I didn't expect, because Maddie filmed, so he had the camera just sitting on a tripod, and then every now and again, if Megan would kind of like, they were tag teaming and helping, moving around, offering me different support, and he would just put the tripod in a different corner or whatever, so that obviously he was still present with me. And I was really nervous. It took he was so excited to make the video. Like, he just thought it was the most amazing, coolest thing ever. And I loved it. We wanted to make it for ourselves. And I was really nervous to share it because I was like, the internet is mean. And I was like, this is a really big, personal, vulnerable thing for me to share. And then I was like, but I love it. Like, I think it is the most amazing, magical, like, coolest thing ever. And we did it so, like, there is no stager. It was just raw, right? Like, we just kind of took it on. Obviously, it's shorter than what it was because it's a video. But it was just so real. And it was funny that my favorite outcome of it, and I didn't really get any like hate, not that I've seen anyway. I got to a point where I kind of like stayed away from it anyway. And but I got a lot of messages, and it was from women who were like, they're like, it reminded them like of their birth, and they remember how, like, there were women going like, man, it makes me realize how fucking cool I am that I did that, you know. And that, like, and I think because when you see someone in their real state, like on the outside, they're like, it brought them back. It wasn't a selfish thing, like it was a very shared thing. So it wasn't like all about me. Like, it brought out something like a beautiful memory and a power and a strength in like all of these other women. And that was like a gift I just didn't even like expect to to get. And so that was huge. I was like, you know, Maddie and I had a lot of moments. Like I was with Terry about it. I was like, oh, this is so amazing. It just felt like this global, I don't know, like power of women just going like, we're fucking badass. Like we do this, like, you know, and it's just, and because like, you know, I'm no bullshit. Like I'm not fake with stuff. I don't like, you know, like we make cool videos and like whatever, but I don't put on a show. Like I am how I am. And so to put something out like that, that's really real and have people like appreciate just normal shit was like so cool. Because you watch, like you Google birth vlogs and stuff, you know, and they're so like, look, everyone can do it their own way, but to me, they feel very like staged and set up about what kind of message they want to send. And I'm like, man, here's me just groaning and moaning. There's my daughter, there's my husband, we're in my house. Like,
I love it that it wasn't planned too. I didn't pick that up for some reason. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention that it wasn't planned to have it at home, because that really drives home the fact that it's not a medical procedure. Like, yo, this is what there's a half of the human race does this. Yeah. Grows babies inside of them and spits them out. Like all of us came from that. It's so amazing. It's so great you shared it.
Thank you.
It's so as amazing as it is, it's so doable. It's so, this one's really going to piss people off. It's so the right thing to do.
Look, and I agree. And look, I always think, you know, whatever, and this is one thing my doula said to me is like, whatever feels right and really comfortable for the mother, that is the right thing. And they need to, you know, feel good and whatever. But I think there's so much noise. And like, there's so much noise from people. It should be like that. It should be like this. And that it should just be, I don't know, like I hate the whole thing that like should be easy. Like that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, but like the most empowering, strong, like hard, but 100% possible. Like, and real, and how it's supposed to be in my eyes. And I was like, there was no stage where I was like, this is not how it's meant to be. I'm like I'm in this, like I'm birthing a child, of course, like I'm, you know, it's going to play out like this. But I think it's really unfortunate, I think, around my personal beliefs again, around birth and around, you know, breastfeeding and like all of that kind of stuff. I think it's all set up. Nature's set it up to be divine, like perfect and exactly as it needs to be. And there's so much noise and influence and change and stuff coming in from the outside, and women just not being at their best self and not feeling that intuition and that confidence in themselves, and not having the support, not having the education, you know, all of those things that have really kind of taken away from it. And that's really, really sad. And I'm just really grateful that, I've lived a life where I was very in the know about things like this. I've always had my radar on about, you know, this kind of natural, comfortable, happy way of living. And I've always looked for people who encourage and support that and who are educated in that space for guidance. And tried to consume as much of that as possible. So like to have that birth, like we were like afterwards, we were in shock. We were just like, me and Maddie, like, did that just fucking happen, man? Like Maddie's there. Yeah. He's like, you know, like this dude, like he's been in a lot of like high pressure situations, people in like car accidents and fires and at war and all this kind of stuff, right?
Mostly on the other end of life, right? People like towards with their life being snuffed out, not new ones coming in, right?
Exactly. And you know, or like the risk of it going, and then all of a sudden he's got like his wife there, like, you know, cleaning up my mess, like as I'm pushing out his son, you know, and he's like getting there ready trying to catch. He's like, comes out, we're in the, and you're there going like, we've done this, are we okay? Like is he okay? Are we okay? Like whoa, like it's just so much adrenaline. But like the most amazing thing was then we were in our home, I take my baby, like birth my placenta, we sort that out. I take my baby, he'd put a whole heap of towels and extra sheets and stuff down in our bed, and I go and lay in the bed with my baby, and I go to sleep in my bed, and you know, with my baby on my chest. And I was like, and I wake up and my daughter comes back, and I'm just like, I'm at home, you know, like I'm at home, here we are.
When my wife, she had 3 of the babies just on the living room floor like that, like you're saying. Chaos, right? Like you're saying, just straight fucking like yelling and moaning, not yelling.
Yeah, savage.
And her going to a place that like she's gone. We're just in the room alone, and there's a body there having a baby, but she's not there. Yeah. And so the baby comes out, and that's the first thing I thought is like, holy shit, are you telling me for the next like 5 days? I'm like, you're telling me that people take this thing and put it in an automobile? That sounded batshit crazy to me to put a newborn baby in an automobile. It just didn't seem. And so for her just to be in, and then at that point I realized the people who are the brave ones are not the people who have the baby at home. It's the people who have the baby in the hospital, and then they have to put that baby in a car seat. I would never. Fuck that.
See, that doesn't stress me out. Like I'm pretty. No, that doesn't stress. So after
3 days later, you on a bullet train in Japan with your baby.
Oh yeah, I just like strapped him on the back of him for a bike ride. No, I did not do that.
It just seems it's so vulnerable still. You're like, hey, this thing could be in, even though it comes out after 9 months, you're like, this thing could be inside for another week. You know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you. So one thing we did do, and this is where I'm a middle ground. I'm not an extremist in any direction. I know what I like, but I really like to look at the big picture. But so I had him in the morning. It was like just before 9 a.m. We stayed home all day. I, drank my Chinese teas and drank my soup and nourished myself and did all the things.
And breastfeeding, all right off the bat, bam.
Yep, breastfeeding straight away. And then in the afternoon, we were like, look, Maddie and I decided that we both, after the experience, we both felt comfortable to go to the hospital and just to get us both checked out. Because your bits down there are all, it's like carnage, right? Like
like you sat on a grenade. I like that.
Fully.
Yeah.
I remember he's like taking a photo, or I've taken a photo of something, and I'm like, damn, it just doesn't look the same, man. Like that's not okay. So I'm like, and my doula's like,
hey, it's fun looking though. It's fun looking all up before that.
Yeah.
You ever think it looks like a hamburger? Like from like month 6, 7, 8, 9, it's like the best hamburger you ever seen. I'm just wow.
Wait, in pregnancy, you mean?
Yeah, just the vagina is just an epic, beautiful looking hamburger.
It just gets really fat and flourished, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like a bunch of sponges on top of each other. God, it's heaven. If you've never been, God, pregnant women are amazing. Okay. Enough hamburger talk.
Yeah, enough hamburger. So then we were like, look, we both feel comfortable. We'll take him. We wanted to check me out, make sure I hadn't torn. Fine. He's kind of had a look. I'm like, I don't feel any discomfort, any pain or anything, but we'll go check me out, make sure. And check him.
Did you have any concerns? Did you have any excess bleeding, or just no, you just did it?
No, I mean, like there was blood everywhere. Like there was like a lot of blood all over our towels and stuff. But I felt okay. I felt a bit, lightheaded because it was hectic. But I was like, look, I'll go check me out. We both felt, we were like, look, this was a big deal. It was a big thing for us to really like lean into and really trust ourselves. And we're like, let's just go. We'll get checked out. So we go. The other reason is that I'm a negative blood group. We don't know what blood type the baby is. And they sometimes have a concern of like cross-contaminated blood because I'm O negative. And I think the thing is, if he turned out to be a positive baby and I get his blood somehow in this process, then I could miscarry a future baby or whatever. There's some complications that can arise there.
So you have some rare blood type.
It's semi-rare, yeah. Like, so I can give.
What are you? What's your ethnicity? Do you know what you are?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm a full bitzer, so I don't know a lot of.
You have a guess? Are you like Portuguese or are you Jewish?
I don't know, man. My mom was adopted. There's a lot of connections in my family. I don't know. She doesn't know her father. There's there's a lot of missing links. Maddie's always been talking about doing one of those DNA things.
Use a fake name if you do it. Fake name.
Okay.
Fake name.
Okay.
Okay, go
ahead. Yeah, so
and then call me and tell me. I'm so curious what you are.
Yeah, I don't know. But so we went into the hospital, had him and I both checked. He was most part really good, but he did get a cross-contamination of my blood somewhere along the way. And that like it could have been like in before labor, during that. They don't really know. Like it can just happen at any stage. And so he had a bit of jaundice, which is like not the end of the world.
Normal.
It can be normal.
They
were like, look, we'll just kind of monitor him. They go, it's at normal levels now. They have this little light thing that they like kind of shine on their skin or whatever, and it gives like a reading. It's like a little, I don't know what. Anyway, and then this is where everything went to shit. Is it again the dialogue of the hospital, like trying like freaking me out, and I'm like, this baby's okay. He's okay. I'm like doing the research, asking people, okay, well, what if he's within range? What happens? Like the part you feed him, and then he needs to like excrete, like the excess bilirubin or whatever. And I'm like, okay,
what?
it's the bilirubin, I think it is, that creates the jaundice. So it's like got that yellow pigment. So it's part of like.
I've never heard that word, bilirubin. Caleb, do we know bilirubin?
We know bilirubin.
Okay,
I'll pull it up right now.
Okay, or tell me after the show. Don't make me feel dumb now. Okay, fine. I'll feel dumb now. Bilirubin. That's a sandwich with pastrami. Bilirubin is a yellowish substance made during your body's normal process of breaking down red blood cells. Bilirubin is found in bile, a fluid your liver makes that helps you digest food. And if your liver is healthy, it will remove most of the bilirubin from your body. Okay, bilirubin. Thanks.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. Teach you something. Learn something every day. So yeah, he was like, he didn't look yellow at present. As the days come on, they're like, oh, we'll keep monitoring. And then the midwives come out and they just do can come and check on you in your home and make sure. And anyway, so he was.
Did they try to stick anything in your kid? They try to inject your kid with anything?
No, they didn't. They suggest, like, they definitely like talk about it. And I just am like, okay, thank you. Like, just, okay, thank you. But anyway, we then had this like, oh my God, we had a different midwife because the other one was away. We had this other lady turn up. She gets to my front door and she's got a mask on. And I'm like, here we go. And then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, maybe this is just a part of like the procedure at the hospital.
Wait, this is 2024, 2023? Well, how long ago was it?
September, so 3 months ago.
You guys still do? Are you guys still doing that? We're still doing it here. I mean, not me, but some people are still doing it.
So,
like Gold Coast doesn't seem like the place they do it. Beach communities kind of are like this.
No, yeah. So no, there's next to nothing. But the hospitals are different. So
right.
So they've come from the hospital. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's part of the thing. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure they'd already cleared it. I wasn't wearing masks going there. No one was wearing them. And then she comes in and she goes, oh, don't mind my mask. I've just had a bit of sniffles and a cough or whatever. And then I'm thinking, like, what the fuck are you doing coming to my house with my
That doesn't make me feel better. Yeah. How about you just take it off and lie to me?
Yeah, legit. I'm like, your mask isn't going to do shit because she goes, so what we'll do, she's like, oh, when I check in, what we'll do is I'll just try and get you to do most things and not touch him. And I'm thinking, like, you're still in my house. You're sitting on my lounge. Like, anyway, she's like trying to do it's a nightmare. I'm like, just go. She doesn't bring the right things that she needs to check him, doesn't read the case about him actually having jaundice. It was a nightmare. I keep doing the best I can. I'm like, all right, I take this baby out into nature, like shaded, or not into blistering sun, but I take him into some filtered light because I know that helps with the process. I'm breastfeeding him, everything that he needs to do. He's pretty drowsy. He was drowsy for about maybe 4 or 5 days. He was just sleeping a lot, but he was still feeding. He was still having wet nappies. He was good, so I wasn't worried.
Who cares? If they're eating and peeing and shitting, who gives a shit?
And that was my thing. I was like, he's not. I'm like, he was with me 24 hours a day. There's not a single minute that he was not with me. And so I'm like I'm watching him. And anyway, he came good, but like then everything I was like got to the point where you can have extra like checks if you want. They can come to your house. You can go there. I'm like, no, I'm fucking done. I don't want anything to do with it. I was all good when they checked me and it was fine. And I don't know if I just had like a bad experience, but like just the staff just seemed really incompetent. When I lived in Brisbane, it was not the case. They hands down, those midwives were beautiful. They were amazing. They were not sort of like in the system. It didn't feel like they were like a whole nother part, and they were really supportive and good. Down here, different hospital, different rules, different people, not the same experience. So, but luckily I had the other support of my doula, and I had asked a million questions, and I knew what I was
already
here
had
for.
One baby, so you're pretty confident, right? Yeah.
I had a baby. I know how they do things. I'm not like so much of like a fuck you kind of person, but I'm like a thank you. I'll take it on board. I understand that's what you do. Thank you. I'll make a decision and I'll let you know. Like if something is what I want, if that's what I'm happy to do, then I'll let you know. Yeah. That's my little, little people. But big sis.
So this baby's only 3 months old now, this Walker dude.
Yeah, so 14th of September was his birthday. So yeah, he's just over 3 months now.
God, I really appreciate you sharing this story. Hey, did the doula have all the stuff there, like to snip the umbilical cord and all that stuff?
No, last minute she was like, oh, it's pretty chill. And he was like a week overdue. And she was like, hey, just in case, like maybe just grab some like surgical scissors and stuff. Or she was like, if you want to do a candle burn, grab the beeswax candles of the umbilical cord or whatever, like whatever you feel comfortable doing. Maddie and I were like,
What's the candle for? What's a candle burn?
So you can get like a pure beeswax candle and you can burn the umbilical cord and it cauterizes it. It's like it's a slow. in Chinese medicine, they say that it brings warmth back to the baby. So like through the umbilical cord, it's really beautiful. But we were like, look, we snipped cis. We were happy with that. So we had a pair of like unopened, like this. Some people love it. We're like, oh, that's beautiful. But they're like, how long does it take? 15 minutes, whatever. And we're like, nah, look, we cut sissies and she was fine. So we're not worried.
Did you leave it for a long time, like 20 minutes or however, until it gets all droopy and shit?
So from memory, I think it was about an hour.
Yeah, an hour. Okay.
So we waited until it was fully, like, had fully pumped all the blood through to him. Made sure that it
weird? Is that weird? When you touch that thing, can you feel it?
It's so weird. Like, it's so squishy. Like, it's just.
But can you feel it like in your head and your hand? Like when you touch it, like, does it feel like it belongs? Do you have do you know what I mean? Like when it's cut, do you feel anything? Or are you like, ooh, that was weird?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No. It was, no, I don't think so. But like, so we obviously, like, I had him, and then the placenta is like still in me, still attached, and then I birthed that, and then we kind of carried that around with him until it finished and did its thing, and we were happy to cut it.
I think I have my kids in here somewhere.
Oh yeah, we didn't keep ours. I don't.
The umbilical cord?
Nah.
Oh,
So I sent my placenta off because I had that encapsulated and had like a tincture and stuff made.
Oh, look at you trying to make me feel weird because I kept mine, and next thing you know, you're eating the placenta. It's in a box here. Every once in a while, I open the box. They're like 2 coiled snakes.
Yeah.
Because I got 2 of them.
Yeah, it's like the mum.
So you ate your placenta? That doesn't seem very normal.
Yeah, so I had it.
That seems extreme.
Yeah, well, yeah, to some it is. I didn't the first time. It was something that I explored this time, and I wanted to give it a try. And honestly, look, I don't know. There are a lot of things I did really well. Like, I put a lot of effort into how I nourish myself, pregnancy and postpartum, and like the whole plan. I did a full like Chinese medicine.
Were you drinking rain? A lot of energy drinks? Were you drinking a lot of energy drinks during pregnancy?
I'm not touching that. No,
great. 300 milligrams of caffeine in one dose is just what your baby wants.
No, I'm caffeine free.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so extreme. My wife was caffeine free too. That is so extreme.
Yeah, my body doesn't love it. It just doesn't love it. I put a post up about it the other day. Actually, I haven't.
Look how calm you are. I feel like an asshole making fun of women who drink caffeine. You're like, no, it's just for me. My body doesn't love it. It's fine.
No, it doesn't. I'll turn into a crazy person and get all like jittery and shit. So I'm like, nah. But after last year when I traveled to and from the games, so I came over for the games, came back home, and then went back to Texas for Rogue. And then at Rogue, my cycle like just wigged out. It was like too much travel. It was too much like chaos for my system. And we were like, oh, we want to have another baby. And we came home, and I was like, man, I'm normally like.
What does
really
that
good.
mean? Your cycle wigs out?
Like
you skip or?
No, I didn't skip, but it was like really heavy, and I had a lot of discomfort. Like leaving Texas, it was just really. And normally, I'm really good. Like everything's just like pretty textbook. And I was like, this isn't like me. What does that mean? That's
like every 28 days, you're ready to have a kid.
Yeah, every 28
window
days.
opens, and Maddie could get it if he wants.
That's right. Yeah, it was like for that window now. And then I was like, oh, my body's not quite right. November, so we got home November, and then December. Then November, I was like, I'm not quite right. I'm gonna cut the caffeine entirely because I could feel my body was like stressed. It felt like systemically it was stressed, and I cut caffeine, and then we got pregnant in December. So I was like, I had felt everything had sort of regulated. I felt 1,000 times better, and that was a part of it. I truly believe.
When your body's your I'm making a presupposition here that your body's your moneymaker. When your body's your moneymaker, does that stress you out about getting pregnant? Like you're like, fuck, like baby,
no,
less
like if I were to get pregnant by accident or like on purpose, or
just
like
your occupation. It's like, hey, I make money with my body, and now it's gonna be out of business for 15 months.
Yeah, do you know
what I mean? It's like the pandemic. It's like the pandemic happened to your body.
Legit.
It's like we got to close the operation down.
The first time I got pregnant, I was really anxious about like telling sponsors and you know what? Rightfully so.
I've heard that before. Yeah,
a couple of them were pricks, and even like I remember one specific in the dialogue was, I'd be lying if I said that we weren't disappointed That were the exact words. And I'm like, fuck you, man. This is like the most amazing, like beautiful thing. Like I'm having a baby and I'm really happy. And that's what you tell me. I'm like,
yeah.
Anyway, so that's a huge thing. Like as a woman, that's really hard. And it's not very
even
well
if they
received.
thought that, I could see them being like, hey, part of the contract is that we wanted you to get eyeballs on you. What are we going to do to get more eyeballs on you? I do want to say this. There's a woman out there named Miranda Alcaraz.
Yeah.
And she started a small little fucking training program.
That's
and 2
not
months
so
later,
small.
And 2 months later, she got pregnant. And she's like, fuck, no one's going to want to train with me because I'm going to be a fat, tubby mom now. Lo and behold, her getting pregnant turned her into fucking one of the richest people in our community.
Legit.
So sponsors, maybe it's time to start thinking out of the box a little bit, because Miranda Alcaraz is fucking murdered it. She's probably like, thank God I got pregnant.
Yeah, legit. She's done amazing because there's more people that are relatable, like that people can relate and go, yeah, I'm a family person. I'm doing that. Like what she's doing is so cool. And I think, the first time I was definitely like anxious about it. As I've gotten older, I'm kind of like, fuck it. I was like, I will not feel that again because this is amazing. I want to have a baby and I'm really stoked about it. People can come or they can go. And to be honest, like I understand, like I own a business, I understand it. I understand you got to make money, but I think a lot of decisions from people come from fear and that they don't believe, they don't believe, oh, there's an alternative. And I'm like, look, I'm open to like whatever. Like obviously if there's, say, for instance, like a supplementation and it's like not safe and they're like, look, you can't promote this while you're pregnant or whatever. Like, can we pause or can we, whatever, like, sure. But some people just assume like, oh, like you're done or whatever. And I'm like, well, I wasn't done last time either. And like, I was, still have a presence. And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to back myself. I don't want to be linked to anyone who doesn't think that that's cool and anyone who doesn't think that that's valuable, because there are a lot more really normal, awesome people. I love normal people. Like I just, like the normal people, like the people that are a part of street parking, whatever, like they're the majority. And I'm not in this little, I was never going to be like one of the, the it girls kind of faking and trying to do, like, I have a presence on social media just because people are watching me work out. Like I never done anything to like be an influencer or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I try and just be a normal person. And I'm like, so I'm just leaning into that. And I said to Maddie, I'm like, I never want to feel guilty. I never want to feel any negativity about doing something so cool as having a family, sharing that I fucking love my kids, teaching them all that I know, having a good relationship with my husband, eating well, exercising, doing what we do. And I'm like, you know what, let's just do what we do and do it well. And then people will be receptive. The right people will be receptive to that and the others can fuck off. And like, and to be honest, I mean, like if you look at my bio, like I don't have many sponsors right now. And that's a huge part of it. Like, and I've gone, if people don't want to like accept the genuine, like authentic me and who I am, and that doesn't align with their business, that's totally cool, because they got to make those decisions for their business too, right? That's not my business and that's not my money and my risk. So you go do that. But I also don't have to carry that weight of feeling like less than, because that doesn't align with you. So yeah, we're just doing our own thing. And just sharing, like I said to Maddie, I'm like, I just want to lean in. Like I love being a mom. I came from a pretty broken family. I didn't expect that I would be so lucky to be in the position that I'm in. And I value my family more than anything because I just have never had it. And yeah, so I share pictures of my kids and I show that I love my kids and I'm doing stuff with them. And because it's like the greatest thing that I've ever had in my life.
One of the things about CrossFit, ironically, is the 3 parts of pregnancy are attracting a mate. So and you do that through your body and through your mind. So CrossFit helps the look of your body, it helps the look of your brain, which also attracts a mate. And then if your body's out of sync, it will probably get it in sync, because you'll start eating, you'll be around these people who are eating correctly, exercising, moving, in a lifestyle that basically prepares a woman, lets a woman's body develop into whatever it was supposed to do.
Yeah, I still say, I was saying,
there's got to be sponsors out there who are like, fuck yeah, that's like, that you are what CrossFit should be. This woman did CrossFit became crazy fertile, attracted a beautifully strong man, birthed their babies at home, still performs at the highest level, still is a strong, healthy woman, but also a contributor to society, but also deeply focused on raising a family. I mean, it's a crazy Cinderella story. You kind of,
but it's not sexy. You know what I mean? Like in the way of like,
I don't know.
Not,
I think you're pretty. I think you're pretty.
I mean sexy,
Maddie's
not
pretty,
as in. I don't mean that in like the. I mean as
you're,
in like the. It's not shiny. You know what I mean? Like it's not, that process is not like shiny. And you know what?
I hear you, but we're all going that way.
Yeah, well,
we're
you
all
can tell
gonna.
CrossFit because
You're at a crossroads where every single healthy person ideally would go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think I say to Maddie every day that starting CrossFit when
you need to be exploited. You need to find someone who can exploit you. You're not being exploited enough.
Well, come find me.
Come exploit me.
Come exploit me. You know why though? Is because I've been under the umbrella for 12 years or something now of the CrossFit Games, and the CrossFit Games is very different than CrossFit, and it's like the left hand not talking to the right, and I truly believe that, and I've been in this system, and people can argue with me as much as they like, but I have my experiences and for a long time, and I know what it's like kind of behind the scenes, and I've been one of the strongest advocates of CrossFit since day one. For the whole process, for everything. I've never gotten involved in the drama. I've never ever entertained that bullshit. I love the methodology. I train it. I live it. I live it with my daughter right now, and with my husband. We train together every day, and we juggle our babies, and we genuinely believe in that for people. And but I've been stuck as being like one of the professional athletes, stuck with people who like, there's a lot of people in the games now, like they've never even been into an affiliate. They just decided they wanted to be a CrossFit Games athlete, and they never stepped foot. I'm like, I walked in, I was there on day one when the affiliate opened as one of, the early days affiliates. I coached for most of my career and trained after I, coached the classes and earned next to no money. And
do you own an affiliate now?
No, I did. And then we moved, and we had so many like issues with like COVID kind of like changed a lot with our space and everything. It was taking a little bit too much away from like our family and everything. And when we moved, we were like, I love.
How long have you lived in the Gold Coast? How long have you been there?
3 years now, just 3 years.
Where's your mom? How far is she?
So I don't really have a relationship with her anymore, but she, from what I've heard, has just actually moved to South Australia. So like not close to me now.
How about your sister?
I haven't really spoken to her either. She's doing okay. She's in Brisbane, where I'm from.
Yeah.
She sees like my grandparents. I probably have in my family. I have the only people I sort of have like a close relationship with my uncle, which is my mom's little brother, and my grandparents. My papa, my grandfather is like probably
your mom
greatest.
has to want to see her grandkids.
Look, I think she does. I think she's got stuff that she just can't get through. And it came a point where it's like, I'm a mom and have to take care of my family, and I can't keep going through like carrying the traumas, I guess, and the everything that kind of comes with that. Like I can't carry that into my family. I need to.
Is that why you moved?
Oh, look, I think that's why it was easy to move. It's not necessarily the only reason why I moved, but that's complex. But so yeah, I've kind of been like on my own. And to be honest, since I had my daughter, it's probably taken me the whole of the 4 years and a lot in the last 1 to 2 of just working through all of my stuff, like all of my family stuff. And
do you have a therapist? Did you see a therapist?
I don't know.
No. You just work out to work through the demons. You exercise the demons, as Eminem says.
What? Yeah, like I work out, I eat well. I try and educate myself. I read. I say the thing I do better than I reckon a lot of people I know is that I look in the mirror. So like I'll look at myself and go, I'm acting this way or feeling this way, or this could be better. And I'm like addicted to improvement. And I think that's been my strength in like healing a lot of that stuff and the relationship stuff with my parents or lack thereof. And so, yeah. And then honestly, my kids were everything. Like I said, I never take it for granted. Like my husband comes from a beautiful family. He's got siblings. They get along. His mom and dad are legends. And
are they in the Gold Coast? Are they there?
No, they live in the country. So they're like about
8
or 9 hours drive from here. They hate that they're not closer, but they live on property and they're good. So all his family's there, and we see them maybe like every quarter they'll come down. But my kids were ultimately the one thing that I don't want to say they healed me, but the process of having them prompted me, because I was like, I am gonna, like, I have to show these kids the world, like I have to be they're not going to do as I say, they're going to do as I do, and they're going to be how I am, and how I feel about myself is how my daughter's going to feel about herself. And I truly believe that, because they see it, how Maddie and I are with each other is what they're going to look for in a relationship. And I think so I take that really seriously, because I know how much that affected me and how much work it's taken for me to get to this point.
What are the two things? How you and Maddie, I heard the first one or the second one, how they're going to emulate, they're going to look for mates the way you and Maddie treat each other. What was the first thing you said?
I think how I feel about myself.
Yeah, how you feel
will
about
essentially
yourself.
Be how she, for instance, I remember
they're going to emulate your self-esteem and your self-love. Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
And you can tell them, and look, I look at my daughter and I think she's the most beautiful, most perfect, girl in the entire world, right? I'm my mum, of course I do.
Yeah.
But if I don't feel that, and I have doubt about myself, and I'm not confident in carrying myself with pride, with self-pride, then where's she going to learn how to do that? She's not. So she'll just go, oh, mum loves me, mum says I'm cool, but she's my mum, but I and that's a huge part of why I take care of myself, why Maddie and I both take care of ourselves. We always say, I like me. I like me. Someone else might not like me, but I like me. I like how we do things, and he likes himself. And we show up for each other, and we work on ourselves. We work out and we eat well, and, we kind of have pride in ourselves. And you know what, our kids, if you meet my daughter, there's no confidence issues there right now. She's 4, and she's going to have to go into the world, and people are going to, say things to her, and she's going to have to navigate that. But then she's going to fall back on how I've navigated it, right? Everything she says now, everything she says, everything she does is a miniature version of me or her dad. Everything, the stuff she comes out with. I had to tell him, stop slapping my bum because your daughter's slapping my bum now.
My son slapped my wife. My kids think my wife's butt is just something to grab every 5 seconds. Yeah,
I'm and he's like, oh, she just knows that I love you, and and I'm like, true, but I'm we're just we've got to figure this out. But that's that is how it is. I remember having friends in school who's mums were really critical of themselves and going, oh, I don't look good in this, and and this was about aesthetics, but they didn't have necessarily confidence in themselves as well. And I remember having this one friend, she was beautiful, and she was a sweet girl. I loved her. I thought she was she was my best friend. I thought there was nothing wrong with her. And then she was so self-conscious and had these crazy, just no self-esteem, no confidence, no pride, or anything. And that was because it's just what she was watching. And that was kind of filtering down to her. And I remember looking at her thinking, what are you talking about? You're amazing. I thought she was the coolest ever. And so, that's
I hide all that shit from my kids too. I go to the beach. If I didn't have kids, I'd never take my shirt off. But the second if I'm there, I take my shirt off right away. Or the second I'm in the house, I always just walk around with my shirt off. I want them to feel, I don't want them to pick up on any of my fucking insecurities. No, and another thing is I like to accept my shortcomings in front of my kids.
Yeah.
For me, that's been a big healing thing. Just accept it. You have a fuck up, I accept it. If I can't accept it, I accept the fact that I can't accept it. I just keep accepting. I just accept myself.
Yeah, we do the same. We communicate everything. The amount of times I'm I might snap or something, right? You get a bit cranky, and I'm
Are you the snapper more than Maddie?
I would definitely snap more than Maddie, yeah. We don't snap a lot, for sure. Right. We and Scotty has a lot of questions. We answer a lot of questions in the day. She does not stop talking. I'm her mother, clearly. But and so I might snap or whatever, and I'll be I'm sorry, Barbara. I'm I shouldn't. I said, I'll be what you did, wasn't necessarily the right thing to do, but I also shouldn't have. I got a bit cranky. I'm a bit tired. And I'll say to her, when you get really tired and sometimes we feel we're going to cry or whatever. And I'm we can't really do that to other people. It's not okay. I'm really sorry. I'm going to try next time I'm tired to just speak a bit kinder or whatever, we show her and accept those things without you know, like kind of making it as though like misbehavior or whatever is okay, of course, like because we're still having to show her how to have respect in the world. And like, look, we're winging it like everyone does. You're just trying to like be good people. But yeah, we definitely do that. And like, you know, if Maddie and I, like, we don't really fight like too much either. Like, I don't know. You get to that point.
I have another rule too. If they do see you fight, they also have to see you make up.
Yeah, same.
Even if you already made up, you got to come back and like show them like, hey, I showed you how to fight. Because I think fighting is an important skill also with your mate. So you saw this is how a couple fights, and then this is also how they get back together. This is how they apologize, or hey, you know, they reconcile their differences.
Yeah, like we'll have Maddie and I might have like, we don't necessarily fight, but we might like disagree, be heated. Like we're together all the time. We have these like, heated conversations. We debate with each other. We'll be like, and then Scotty will come in and she'll hear the tone, right? And she'll be like, Mum, are you cranky? And I might say like, I'll be like, oh, sometimes it might be like, yeah, I am a little bit cranky at Dad right now. Like
my kids never side with me. Your kids side with your husband? My kids never side with me. Never.
Nah, they'll side with me.
Wow, they do side with you. Okay.
Yeah, well, she does. Yeah, he's too little, but
he'll totally side with you. The dudes don't give a fuck about Dad, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they're like, well, Dad's kind of just like the play guy, you know. He's like the, you know, and he's definitely like they rough around and wrestle and, you know, do
my wife will yell at me. My wife will be like scold me for something. She doesn't really yell, but she'll scold me for something, and my kids will be like, "You're being a dick." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. You shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, my daughter.
I just got hit with the belt, and I'm the bad guy. Like what? My wife doesn't hit me with the belt, but you know what I mean, metaphorically speaking. I'm like, how the fuck am I in trouble?
Yeah, my daughter's the same. It's like the perk of the fact that also if she wants anything done, she'll come and make me do it, and not my husband. I'll be like, yesterday, she's like, I fell asleep in the lounge because I was up, had a rough night with the little boy, and I fell asleep, and he's there like hanging out. Baby's asleep, I'm asleep. She's playing. Dad's playing 10 minutes of Xbox. She waits until the second I'm just opening my eyes, like, Mum, can you cut me up an orange? And I'm like, mate, Dad's sitting there on the Xbox. Like, like and he's like, he will happily do it. Like, it's not that he will never do it. He's always like, I'll do it. He goes, Scotty, I'll get it. And she'll go, no, Mum can do it. And
yeah, they always ask Mom. That's true. They always ask Mom
and
for
I'm
everything.
like, no, Dad can do it. Dad can cut up an orange exact same as I can.
My wife can't sit down for 10 minutes. Someone asks her to do, someone's like, hey, I need my butt wiped, or I need this, or can you help me with that?
Yeah. Like
extra sloppy. Sevan, I'll give you another $5 if you find those cords. Best show in a while, by the way. Well, thank you.
The umbilical cords. I was like, what cords are you talking about?
Cara, are there any books you would recommend to prep for a natural home birth, Mr. Sean?
So I did, I had the book that was for hypnobirthing.
Did you do those? We did hypnobirthing classes. They were cool.
I did hypnobirthing classes. My doula actually ran those, and there's like the book, like the main book that's like kind of the lady who founded it.
Yeah, my wife read that. I didn't.
Yeah, I honestly did it in audio book at the time. I couldn't really sit down time-wise. So I was doing it like just on drives and random times. So that was really, really good. Yeah, that's the one. I
remember seeing that book around for years. Crazy. I haven't seen it in a while.
So I read that. And then honestly, like, we're all on social media, right? I just went into the trenches of people like that were really like holistic and open in all different spaces. And because I'm a firm believer that you kind of are what you consume, and that really can change like how you think. And so I would find people that had the messaging that like were biased to what I wanted, you know, that really good like natural approach, and that really believed in it, were confident in it, because I think you have to believe it to make that happen. So I had was following pages like Pain-Free Birth. My doula puts up some.
That didn't work out so good, did it?
Look, there's no such thing. Look,
my wife would be watching videos of women who are just like, "Oh, here's my baby." My wife's like, "What the fuck?"
I watched these like water births and stuff, and I thought like, oh yeah, like that kind of stuff. And then you start on a couple, and then they start resharing and connecting with some other pages, or have a look at who they follow. And then they start really sharing things that just open up your world to what is possible, and like seeing beautiful births. I think that's a huge thing, is to like see expose yourself to what you want. My doula is really cool. She's got a page, Megan Amore. She posted a heap of stuff. I'm trying to think. Oh man, maybe I'll send you something after. But actually, like, I can't remember who commented. If you send me a DM, I'll find some and I'll reply to you with a couple when I remember them. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
It was Sean. It was this guy, Sean.
Yeah.
Jozwiak.
Hang on, let me take a photo of that, and then All right.
Damn, you're so good.
Yeah, I'll dig through and find some of the ones. But yeah, I think
that's your doula.
That's my doula. She's awesome. She's kind of like I don't know, like an awesome birth mom. She's like, yeah, real sweet. Does a heap of like just really, I don't know, like for some people it's really, there's me. But yeah, like, look, people have these like really peaceful like water births and stuff too. And I was like, do you know what, for me, this sounds like kind of stupid, but I like wanted to really like let go. I felt like for me, I just had this feeling like with my son that I was like, this is going to be a really huge turning point for me to just like have no fear and to just like, I don't know, be really primal and just let go of any judgment or any like anything that I hold on to. And and it was, I wouldn't say painful, I'd just say intense. It was like a lot. It was just really intense feeling, right? And so I just like lent in and kind of like got loud and deep and just kind of like I needed to just like release. I felt like having my son was like the last bit of like a release for me of like, this is who I am. And then I feel like since I had him, I'm like, whatever fucks I had left to give, like they're long gone. I'm like, all I care about now is like my family. I'm like, there's just so many things that just don't mean anything to me anymore. Like I just had to fully let go of like any care of like what people think or feel or whatever, and go like, the only people that matter in this world right now are me, my husband, and my babies, like that. And then obviously we have like friends and family we love and care about, but like in the end, to the end of my days, it's going to be me and my hubby. Like we're a team, and those kids are going to be my kids forever and ever, and I'm responsible for them, and they're my besties, you know. Like, so like that's anything else outside of that that's taking energy. Like I just don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. Like you just, I don't know, I'd rather give that to my kid, you know. Like it's
your neighbors, how close are your neighbors?
Look, they're like, I thought this, I was like thinking, I said to one of the neighbors, I was like, surely you heard me. Like, surely you heard. She's like, no, I didn't hear anything. And then I'm like, the other side, like they're not super close, but like, I mean, it's getting loud, and it was like in the morning.
We had a neighbor come over the first time.
Well, what's
funny, everything okay in here? Yeah. Well, why do you ask?
We had a note in our letterbox like a few days later from a house 2 doors up, and they were like, oh, just letting you know, I heard a strange sound coming from your house. I don't know if your hot water system's broken.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. They thought you were pipe screaming. Wow.
And I'm thinking, I said to Maddie, what are they talking about? That's an odd note. 2 doors up. And I'm like, how would you hear like our solar hot water like 2 doors? There's no way. There's no way you'd hear that. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm like, I bet they heard the distant sound of me like moaning and groaning, wailing, getting this child out. And just going deep within myself, like, you know, and I thought, oh, that's so funny. Here they are. I'm like, I would be so concerned.
Brianna Smith, Cara, please write a book. Love watching you and following what you are doing in business and life.
Oh, thanks. I've thought about it. I don't know. I'm like my business partner and this is a good friend is always like, oh man, you've got some stories to tell, like just about like where I've come from. It's definitely something that's not very like known or anything like that. You know, usually like top athletes have some kind of wild story, right? Everyone's got like they either had something to prove or overcome or like something. It's never just like clear, or they're like just really rich and got put into like, that was, you know, bred well and had a lot of money and got put into the right things. It's like one extreme or the other. I've thought about it, but I don't know. I need help. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I bet you that it sounds like that there's some stories to tell about some of the things that you're dealing with. My wife, Jenny Bodie, will DM you. I don't have social media. Thank you.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out. I'll have a look at the pages and stuff. I just can't. I haven't been, honestly. I've been kind of. I bought a Kindle. Do you know what the Kindle? You know the Kindle thing?
Yeah. Greg's a huge fan of the Kindle. Greg Glassman. He's always talking to me about his Kindle.
well, I pushed back against it for ages. Maddie had one. I was like, no, I love the book. I love the real thing, you know? And then I got to the point where I was like, I realized it just wasn't working and I wasn't able to sit down with one hand in a book. And then I was feeding my son all the time. You know, you're just living there with them on your boob. And I was like, I just can't hold the book. And I'm like, all right, I might try the Kindle thing. Anyway, I was fully converted. Maddie's like, I knew you'd like it. I knew you'd like it. I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, so I'm fully converted. I was like, I didn't want to sit there.
You read while you breastfeed?
Yeah. So I just read. So I was like lying down, like.
Are you addicted to breastfeeding?
Addicted to it?
Yeah, like I feel like I've never asked my wife, but I think she's a little addicted to it. I think she really like.
Look, I think it is one of the, if not, it's one of the single greatest things you can offer a child. I do truly believe that. I breastfed my daughter for 2.5 years, and I.
Why'd you stop? Did she wean herself, or you were like, hey, she's talking to me now, or?
So there's 2 reasons. One, she was kind of like, I was only down to like a feed to bed type thing. It was like a little feed just to get to sleep at night. And she was kind of happy to not have it as well. I wanted to get her through those first 2 years where they're like, you know, touching grubby things all the time. And, you know, breast milk is medicine. I know that.
Yeah. Do you put that on everything? My wife put that shit on everything. Oh, you got a little alley?
Yeah.
Putting it on everything. Oh, your eye looks a little red.
You're like.
Yeah, she just rubbed breast milk on everything.
Yeah, it's magical. Like, and it's custom made for the baby, right? So I'm like, well, there's, you know, I'm custom making this stuff. Like, so there were 2 reasons. That there was that, and then I came over. I remember I had to leave her behind to come over for the CrossFit Games in 21, the COVID year, and I had to leave my family behind because I had to get an exemption to fly, which I'm gonna say is one of my biggest regrets, and also one of the things that blessed me the most. It's like 50-50, like crazy that I did that.
Regrets about what?
About leaving my family and coming over for the games that year. And I did that out of fear, to be honest. That was definitely a fear move, and that taught me to like pay attention and not make decisions out of fear. Because
what do you mean a fear move? That you would get forgotten about by the community or the games?
Yep, that I would like miss a window and I wasn't there, and I'd lose sponsors, and that I'd fall behind, and that I'd trained all year and it was going to waste. And you know what, like I didn't want to go, and I felt the pressure from a lot of areas of like, oh, but you've trained this hard, and you know, blah blah, and you could go, and you know, like it was my life and my income and what kept a roof over my head, you know, and all those kind of things. And I made that decision out of fear. And if anyone followed me back then, it was one of the it was the worst 5 weeks of my entire life. But
why 5 weeks? Because of the quarantine on re-entry?
I had to quarantine for 2 weeks when I came back. Yeah. And
can you answer honestly questions if I ask you about other things, or no?
Sorry, that's my dog. Yeah, it depends. It depends what you ask me.
All right, fair enough. Go on. Okay, so it's a mistake. Hey, let me ask you this before you keep going on that. Why can't you just be? Do you think it was a mistake because you didn't capitalize on it? That you should have been like, hey, I'm fucking sacrificing a lot for this. I'm going to give it my all, and you didn't do that, and that maybe you felt sorry for yourself, and that the whole thing went to waste. Like, or do you, what do you, or I know that's a little excessive. Or do you think that you just wish you wouldn't have done it? It's like, hey, I still did my best. I came back, but fuck it. I'll take those 5 weeks that I could have had with my family are way more valuable than the games.
Yeah, I think the biggest regret for me was and for me, it's not about the outcome necessarily. It was about why I made the decision. Like, I feel like if you do something because someone pressures you, and it wasn't your right decision, you'll regret it. Like, and I think
you think there's 200 million people in the United States who fucking regret getting the injection?
Yeah, potentially. Like,
yeah. Me too.
yeah.
That's a fucking tough one.
And it's tough. And I think that feeling of just going
even if nothing bad happens, you know, somewhere inside you fucked up. You were a bitch.
Yeah, that's it. It's just, for me, it was like, I didn't feel like, and I'm a real go with your gut kind of girl. And like, my gut was like, don't go. And I was like, I didn't trust and believe in myself enough to not go. I was too fearful of what the outcome would be. And so I went. And you know what? I went out of fear, and guess what? I got COVID. I couldn't compete. is
that what happened? I forgot. That's what happened?
So I got COVID when I got there. I thought I just had jet lag because I was like, I'd flown into Ohio and I was staying with Dan Bailey at his place. And I was like,
shit. Now I am remembering. Holy shit. You flew out for the CrossFit Games and couldn't compete because you had COVID. Who else? Is that the same year that Carrie Pierce and Beth?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So this is what happened though. So I got COVID early enough on arrival. Like I must have got it literally coming into the US.
Yeah.
And, wore the mask on the plane, did all the things I had to do and wash my hands and, whatever.
You didn't do everything you had to do.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Pardon? That's a trick question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not going down that path.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we know where my values lie. But
okay, that's incredible. That makes me happy to hear that. Okay.
I got it at the start, like coming into the country. I thought I just had jet lag. I was just really tired and like didn't feel too great. And then but was kind of carrying on prepping. And it wasn't until then we like started moving. There was like one day I was like, man, I got just a really bad headache. Yeah. I just had a really bad headache. And I was like, oh, this jet lag really got me good this time. But I remembered last time I went to Ohio and it's just that extra flight for me. I was the same. And I thought, oh, it just is what it is. And then anyway, I thought, I've got a bit of a headache. Look, I better do the right thing. I'll do a COVID test before we move to the next state. Like I wasn't going anywhere anyway. I was training in Dan's barn. I wasn't like going anywhere. I was being responsible. And I did a test and I was like, it came out positive. I'm like, I'm like, no way. I message Maddie. I'm like, you won't believe it. Like I've got COVID. What the fuck? I'm like, what do I do? Like freaking out. And I was still feeling okay, but just kind of like, like lethargic and a bit of a headache and just a bit off, right? Then all of a sudden Dan starts getting all sweaty and like I'm staying with him. He said, I'm like, oh shit. Anyways, based off the CDC's guidelines or whatever at the time, there was like a 10-day window or like and then a period of time that you had to have not had the symptoms and then not be testing positive. And because I'd got it at the start of the trip, I was testing negative by the time the games came around. I had met the rules of the CDC or whatever to be able to like be let out, And so I communicated with the CrossFit Games and they said, look, we'll keep testing you so long as you keep testing negative on a rat.
Why did you tell them?
Because I just try and do the right thing. I just always try and do the right thing.
Get out of your fucking mind. What did your agent say? Do you have an agent? He should have someone should have put a piece of tape on your mouth.
Look, I thought I don't want to like go into a position where I'm around a lot of people, a lot of athletes. I don't want to make
Listen, everyone there had it. Everyone came home with it. Everyone there fucking had it that year. It was crazy. Everyone had it.
We found that out later.
Event. Yeah,
we found that out later, right? That everyone ended up having it. I was doing the right thing and going
the fans, the athletes, everyone had that shit.
I know. I thought I don't want to be the person that's responsible for making another athlete or another person sick and then, ruining their opportunities or whatever. So I did the right thing and they tested me and I was testing negative. Anyway, I go in the day before the games started and just go to do a little warm-up-y type thing. And I was like, fuck, I did like, it was like 100% effort though. It was like little mini sprints. And I was like, I just can't quite breathe as well. And I was like, I'm doing okay. Anyway, I went into the first.
Madison. This is in Madison.
In Madison, yeah. I go into the first day of competition. I'm like, look, I'm not feeling amazing. Like, if you've just been run down or whatever, you're like not great. I go into the first day of competition and we did the swim and I was like I was okay. Like I swam that whatever the distance was, swim and then the paddleboard, like we kayaked. And I remember like, if you understand like how the body works, I remember just feeling like almost like a bit anemic. Like I felt like my blood flow, like the oxygen just kind of wasn't moving through my legs. I remember getting up the kayak and my legs were really jelly and trying to run to the end. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then as the day progressed, I kind of just started to get worse and worse. So like I felt kind of all right, but I couldn't perform. And then I made the call. I was like, I'm going to put myself in a hole. Then trying to work out at a high level started to make me cough. And then it just was spiraling. So I withdrew. I stayed away from
this is pretty uncharacteristic. A 20th, a 29th, a 36th, and a 33rd.
Yeah, like I remember running the we had the 500 meter run, the time trial, and I remember like I got 100 meters and I felt like I'd been shot. I was like I'm good, and then like I felt fine, and then all of a sudden it was like I just didn't have any engine, like just didn't have the engine to keep going. Anyway, so I stopped. I rested. I stayed home. Dan had tested positive by this stage, so we isolated in this house. Like we just bloody ordered soups in and sat around feeling sorry for ourselves, being sick and not being able to compete. I felt bad because I got him sick and he couldn't compete. He was doing real well. And then I had to then test negative and try and get on a plane to get home, which I was testing negative on a rat, but the PCRs could last a bit longer. So even if you weren't like contagious, it could still be like.
What's a rat? You were testing negative on a rat?
Yeah, the rapid antigen test.
Oh, rapid. Yeah. Look at you with all the lingo. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all over it. But
what
anyway,
is that? They stick something in your nose? They did that to you?
Yeah, they do that. And that was fine. But I had to, the conditions of entry back to Australia was, you had to be testing negative on the PCR, and I'd read, it can take longer. Anyway, then turns out my flight got pushed a day earlier. I had to drive an hour to Milwaukee or something like that to get a PCR because it was a Sunday and I couldn't get in anywhere. I get in, they do that by some grace of God, that's negative. I get on the plane, like I'm waiting at the airport. I'm there super early. I'm like, get me the fuck home.
Are you tripping when it's negative? Are you like, holy shit?
I'm like, this is
There's no way. I feel like shit.
Yeah, I was like, because I think it was the day of competition that put me in the hole. Like, I think if I had just rested, like, because Dan rested and then he was fine. I didn't rest and I tried to compete, and that was silly. And but I just flown and left my family and it cost me $14,000 to fly there. So I was like, I've got to compete. Like, I've just made the sacrifice. Like, I've left my daughter behind. I'm like, I'm in it now. I'm in the thick of it. Like, you just got to go. Like,
yeah.
And anyway, so I get home. I've got to go straight into quarantine, then into a hotel for 2 weeks, like literally in a room for 2 weeks. Can't leave the room, like police circulating at the bottom of the hotel, like just hectic. The first couple of days were nice because I was like, oh, look, that was a shit show. That was hectic. I need to like recover. I don't have my daughter for a minute, like needing me, But then on top of all that, I think this is what rocked me too, is I just stopped breastfeeding her. So anyone who's weaned from breastfeeding, you have a massive hormonal plummet. I'm doing it for I've fed for 2.5 years. I've come, like, the whole time I was in the US, I said to Maddie, I'm like, I feel like I've got depression, man. Like, I am just bombing. Like, between having COVID, leaving my family, paying all that money, like, and then having those hormones come crashing down, I was just inside out. And so then the quarantine, then they were shutting off the border to my state. So like the day after I got back into Queensland, I had to quarantine in New South Wales, like in Sydney where I flew in. The day I got home, they go, oh, your pass is now not valid. You can't get back into Queensland. So if I hadn't have got back that day that I got back, I wouldn't have got home to my family. I would have been stuck in another state, not allowed to get home. Even though
would you have had to quarantine another 2 weeks or no? You just can't.
No, I just would have been stuck somewhere. Like I couldn't get home. I'm like, my husband's got to go back to work. Like I've got a 2.5-year-old.
How do they do that? Is that scary to think that they did that in your country?
Yeah, it was so stressful. Like I remember sitting in this hotel room.
What's the vibe there now? Does it feel like it could happen again now?
No, look, as soon as because we're in like I guess an area where like people are flocking for the holidays, a lot of locals, especially like elderly locals, you'll see all of a sudden in supermarkets they start wearing masks and stuff again, and they're being like a little bit wary, but there's no like talk of it. Like now it's like my husband works for the government, and they're like, oh, it got to a point where they were like, oh, until you test positive, like you could be like, oh, he could say, for instance, my wife has COVID right now, and I have a cough, and I'm almost certain that I've got it as well. And they go, oh, if you haven't tested positive, don't worry, just still come to work. It was no big deal. It's like, oh, it never existed anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like,
because
all of a sudden no one was in the workforce and everyone was falling behind. There was no one in cafes. Like cafes were having to close because people weren't allowed to go to work. Oh, there weren't enough nurses. There weren't enough.
Does it feel like your country's fucked, or like what's happened here is we
look, state
for
by
a lot
state,
of people. Go ahead.
State by state's different, which is the same over there, right? Some are better than others.
Yeah.
I don't think we're as bad as it is over there, but we're like not as big, like population wise either. And
like there's huge wastelands now, like whole flourishing cities are like zombie lands now. Like
really?
like 50 square blocks in San Francisco and 50 square blocks in Portland and Seattle, and like it's just like lawlessness and people like you can just people openly stealing and drugs being done. I mean, the country's massive, so it's in pockets. Los Angeles is just like I mean, like any right now, pretty much anyone in California within a the vast majority of people in California within 20 minutes could take you somewhere and show you someone shooting up just on the street.
That's insane.
I know, it's crazy. It's like it's nuts,
just like
dude.
like
And
there's
it just
definitely
happened all of a sudden. It just kind of like and the
Well,
cops
now-
aren't doing anything, and it's bizarre.
yeah, like look, I think people will never be the same like after that experience. Like people
Yeah.
aren't the same, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot of people it was like, I don't know, for me, I'm like, I haven't like grown up easy or whatever, so I'm like, just another fucking hard thing to just work through. But like for a lot of people it was like the hardest thing that's ever happened to them, and their like psychology's changed and they're never the same. So like people are different and they interact differently, and it's taking a long time to recover from that. People in business, like now everyone's just worried about how expensive everything is and interest rates are crazy, and but we're somewhat the same as from what I can see from the outside looking in with the US, but I don't know. I'm in a good,
I don't think you guys have I don't think you guys have a fentanyl crisis there. That's what's happened. We have a real bad drug problem going on in the United States, and I don't think fentanyl's made it to Australia. Is that true, Caleb? Can you type in fentanyl Australia, because it's coming in through our southern border through the Chinese?
We have very strong like regulations when it comes to like medication and stuff like that. Like I read some stats about like how many people are like medicated like on a minimum of 1 to 4 medication. I'm like, what? When I go to the hospital, like I don't never go to the hospital. I've got a holistic doctor, so I don't really like go anywhere. But if I'm ever asked like, oh, you don't need any medication, I'm like, no, like what for? Like I just
is your border secure? Is the country's border secure?
Yeah, like we're an island. We're like a floating island, so like it's a little.
I know you think that, but 833 fentanyl deaths. Oh, all right, it's more than I thought.
20 years though, over 20
in 20 years.
In 20 years.
Oh, okay. We have that many. We have no joke. We have almost that many every day in the United States.
What's it for? What's that drug do?
It's basically it's replaced heroin. It's just super cheap. Like as much as that would fit in this dental floss container could kill everyone in California. Like just like cops have died breathing it in from getting a suspect.
Far out.
Yeah, it's
that's so scary.
2022, 73,654 people died from fentanyl. And here's what's crazy: the vast majority of those people also weren't doing fentanyl, Cara. They think they're like
in contact.
Or they're kids who think that they're buying something on Snapchat that's like a Xanax or some ecstasy, and there's fentanyl in it, and they die.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
As a parent, that's so scary, man. I'm like,
it's crazy scary as a parent. It's crazy scary.
I'm like, look, if my kids like hate me to a degree for a period of time for not like allowing stuff like that, that's kind of like apps and phones and all that kind of stuff, whatever, so be it. Because I'm like, they'll be grateful one day. They'll get over it. I'll love them in other ways.
I made this video the other day, I just looking at my phone and talking to it, and I said, "Hey, if you're a guy and you're going to pick a girl, here's some things you should consider. You should pick a girl who probably wants to be a mother and who probably wants to raise children." And I said all these like qualities, and who is loving and who can is strong and who is working on herself and self-reflective. And I said all these things, and then afterwards, I thought to myself, well, I didn't ever publish the video because I picked a woman who told me that she would never marry me and never wanted to have kids. And I go, great. I never want to get married, never have kids either. And after being together for 20 years, I've realized and when I was making this video, I was looking at her. She was doing burpees in a field with her 3 little boys jumping all around her. We just stopped. She's like, hey, I'm gonna go do 100 burpees out there. I'm like, okay, cool. This is just a couple weeks ago. And I'm making the movie and I'm like, oh, this is bullshit because I didn't pick my chick because of that. No.
Yeah.
I picked my chick because she smoked cloves with me and we drank coffee and walked around in the Berkeley Hills and fucked a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like she didn't want no kids. But it is important. I don't think young people realize how important it is. Like the happiest moments of my life now are watching my kids interact with their mother.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thrilled by it. It's like so fucking dope. It drives me. But I didn't pick her for that. So I don't know what advice to give anyone.
Look, I don't know. Like, I think
Did Maddie see you as a baby carrier? I guess this takes us back to the first question. Did he choose you because he wanted a family, or did you choose him because you wanted a family?
Look, that was definitely like important. I know that was definitely important for him, especially he comes from like a real country family. Like one of the first things his mum asked him was, does she want kids? You know, like that's kind of like, that's a really important value to them. And I guess I run a little bit different though. I kind of like run off feel. Like I think you just know and have a feeling when something is right. And I think like the universe kind of just presents things to you as they're meant to be. And if you've got your eyes open, you'll feel it, and then it will play out kind of how it's meant to play out.
How did it present Maddie to you?
Well, we were like, look, I don't think it's necessarily like a thing. I think it's like a feeling. I think so. Let me use the opposite example. So we've talked about this a few times. We're like, a lot of people these days, and probably forever, a lot of like men and women, like both, you know, like both sides are always like, they want to tick boxes. So they're like, I want a dude that's this tall. I want him to have this kind of job. I want to have this kind of life with this kind of money, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're too worried, and they worry about a timeline. I'm this age, so, you know, I need this and that and whatever. And I think people spend so much time focusing on like what this other person should be, that they don't actually work on who are they and how are they showing up in the world. And I think if you do you, and then you put you out there, then you're naturally a magnet to the person that's also doing them, and they're supposed to come into that, right? And I just think, you know, I'm a bit woo-woo, but out there, but I think that's how it plays out. And so I think the best thing you can do is fuck the boxes. Like, don't worry, like, yeah, you can like marry for money. Like we always joke around. I'm like, oh, fucking married for love, man. I'm like, lucky you give me cute kids. So I could just joke around. And I'm like, but for real, like I don't know, people don't think long term. I don't think at the end of the day, like where are your value systems at? Like, how far is that going to get you? Like, cool, old mate could pay for, you know, you could have a flash house or whatever, but like if you don't even like him, you know, and you were too worried about ticking a box or hitting a timeline or whatever, and I think people get really lost in that. And yeah, like I don't know, Maddie and I are just like,
you nailed it. You nailed it. My wife and I, the cornerstone to our success is, at the end of the day, she's responsible for her happiness and I'm responsible for mine. And we try not to put that burden on the other person. And neither of us are box ticking people. Neither of us are box ticking people.
No. And Maddie read a thing ages ago, and it was talking about, like, you know, they say like you've got like an unconditional love for your children. And I'm like, totally. Like I have these babies, and I'm like, how odd is it? I just have this person all of a sudden. I'm like, I'll die for you. I think you're perfect. Like there's not a single flaw in you. You know, you're like, you're the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then when you come into a relationship, you're like, yeah, look, I feel like you're my best mate, and me and you are supposed to be together, and we're meant to do cool things until the day we die, and we're going to tell stories about it. It's going to be awesome. Like that feels what it's meant to be. But it's conditional. It still is. And he's like, it is conditional. You have to work at it. Like you love each other and we're connected and we're supposed to be together, but I'm still responsible for me and he's still responsible for him. He comes from a different family with different experiences, and I come from my family and my experiences, and we come together and we make a decision to go like, hey, how are we going to, you want to share this life? You want to grow together? You want to do things like, hey, you be responsible for that. I'll be responsible for this. And I think as soon as you can accept responsibility for yourself, and that doesn't mean you don't like support each other or like help, like we are the ultimate like full team. You know, we like pick up each other's slack where we need to, and we are best mates, and we work together, and then we still like really love each other and have a romantic relationship and whatever. Like, but we definitely have learned over the years that we're like, you really need to like, and this is where I say my biggest thing in life is to look yourself in the mirror. The second you can look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm acting this way, or I'm showing up like this, I'm doing this, I'm responsible for that. It's nobody else's fault. And if I feel like I'm not my best right now, then I need to address it. I need to find out, what can I do? What do I need to improve on? And like, you know, with my family and the way that was, there were things, you know, where I was like, I'm just not kind of showing up. There are things like I feel like I'm not my best person. I'm like, oh, would I want to hang out with me right now? Maybe not. So I'm like, I'll work on it. That's not how I want to be. I'm like, how do I want to be? And so you start making changes, and then all of a sudden that starts to forge an even better relationship, right? And you're like showing yourself respect, and then you've got more respect and love and open and genuine authenticity to give to somebody else. So I think that's, I never ticked a box. Look, when I was younger,
but he is very attractive.
Yeah, like he's so good looking. I'm not gonna
say that. Do you like the way he smells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even like if he's like isn't that weird? They talk about like pheromones and stuff, and I'm always like, if he's like say typically like someone else might think he's stinky, you know, like if he's like worked out, he's sweaty or whatever. I'm like, but I dig it. So I'm like,
my wife can't get enough of me.
I'm like,
I can't get enough of her either. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, me and you are meant to be because we're like that. None of that bothers me, you know. Like the people talk about the ick, you know that like trend. People like, oh, what's your ick like with a guy or a girl or whatever. So when they do this, I'm like, I know that you're the one because I'm like, even all your like weird shit or gross shit or whatever, if you stink or if you got a boogie on your face, like I don't give a fuck. But I'm like, once upon a time, if it was another dude that wasn't my dude, I would have cared.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But when it's your person, you're like, I don't care.
Right.
I'm like, I don't care. Like.
Hey, there's this other part too about going back to the personal accountability and responsibility. Anytime you don't do absolute personal responsibility or accountability, you're giving away power.
Yeah.
Like you're just giving away, like even if someone rear ends you and it's their fault, like I understand that the rules are like you hit me and you're going to pay for me. But if I start going down this whole blame game and you ruin my life or it's like, wow, am I my God of my own world or are you?
Yep.
It's like I'm giving you, I'm saying you did this to me. And it's like, whoa. That can't be good.
I read this book recently and it was like, if you don't know who you are and you don't know what your clear values and your beliefs are, you don't know what they are, somebody else will tell you what they are. Oh. And so like that was like, I just sat there for a moment. I read it and I was like, fuck. And I said to Maddie, I'm like, man, we need to like really sit down and go like, we're like really leaning into like this phase of life that we're in, loving every second of it. And I'm like, man, we need to like, I've been in position in business, especially more so, not so much personally. But whereas I haven't like kind of set clear, like, for lack of a better word, like boundaries or like my values, what's important to me and what I have to give. And then when I haven't done that, I've been taken advantage of and people have gone, sweet, well, you'll do this then. And then now I'm like, no, I'm not in a fully respectful way. I'm going to go, this is like, I've made it really clear to people around me. I'm like, just so you know, I'll never prioritize you or business or anything over my children. So like if my kid needs a sleep or they need me or they've got something on, that's a mum first. Like that's.
Did you ever have values before? I just started getting values recently, like in the last like 3 or 4 years. I was doing this interview with Sarah Sigmund's daughter. And then also like I've been watching like how Mayhem operates like with values. And then I was like, well, values are like really important. I never thought about like, and no one can take your values. You can change them forever or you could change them. It doesn't matter, but they're dope.
Yeah,
like, hey,
and you know what?
Values. That's why I started really liking religious people because they got values. I just like people with any kind of values, just some values. Let me hear that shit.
I'm the exact same. So I'll like say to Maddie, I hate people that will act a certain way with me. I don't have like a lot of friends. When I get a good friend, I've got like a good friend, you know. I said I hate people that will act a certain way, like they'll tell me what they think I want to hear or try and be like me because I think that's what will make them my friend. I'm like, you know what I like? I like when you're so certain of who you are. You can be the total opposite person to me, but you're like, this is what I love. This is who I am. And I'm like, I dig you for that. Like, I really like you. Now I want to be your friend because I'm like, you've just got like strength, right? Like, and it could be like, you could be hate sport, you know, you could fucking love McDonald's and I don't know, hate kids or do whatever. And you're like, no, this is who I am. And you're like,
well,
oh,
hating
man,
kids is a little weird. Hating kids is a little weird.
Yeah, that's probably
I've been around some people who hate kids.
I mean, like not want to have.
I understand.
Like,
I just had to stop you there. Sorry. Triggered.
Triggered. Yeah, I get it. We got triggers. That's cool. But yeah, it's like that's more important. As I'm like, if you know who you are and you're good and you're confident, but in this day and age, like you know what values get mixed up with is like because you're not allowed opinions anymore. We're not allowed to have an opinion. Like if I say I believe in natural birth and I really really strongly believe in breastfeeding. If I post that on Instagram, it's like I've just told everyone who thinks the opposite that they're a piece of shit and they should go die. I'm like, no, I'm Cara Saunders. This is my page. This is what I love and believe in. I love sharing that message for anyone who wants to hear it. If you don't, cool, man. Like, I don't hate you for it. Go do you, man. That's totally fine. Yeah. But now, like I said, had my son, 2 kids in. I love having 2 kids. Like I thought 1 kid was cool and 2 kids is even better. And I'm like,
are you gonna have 3? Are you gonna do 3?
I don't think we'll have 3.
Okay.
I don't think we'll have 3.
Are you being careless with your fornication?
No, we're never careless. I like naturally track and I'm always very mindful. I'm in tune. I'm like, we're more careful now because like when you're breastfeeding.
Is he careless? Or you're like, dude, what'd you do?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay, all right.
No, we're good. We've
ended up with twins. Carelessness on my part. She told me, she was like, "What?"
Yeah, we've had no accidents in the 7 years or whatever it is. So
okay.
we're like, everyone's on purpose, so we're good. If in doubt, we'll be careful. But I've totally lost my train of thought now.
Basically, having kids, values.
Like it's
on your page.
now more than ever. I think as you get older, and then I think this is one of the most beautiful things about having children is that you really do level up, and you find this whole other like selfless part of you, like any parent will know, like and happily so. Like I love people like, oh, you got to do you, and I'm like, I do wherever I can, but I am more than happy to breastfeed my child for a couple of years, and one day that child's going to go and leave me, and they're going to do their life, and I know that I've done everything that was really important to me and that I loved and valued, and that is not, I have no problem doing that. Like I love that. That's why I had my children. Like I'm happy to give all of myself to them. But
3 in the morning, kids throwing up by the toilet. You're over there like with your hand on their forehead, like telling them how much you love them. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah. I actually like being I'm like, I hate everything about this, and I'm actually thoroughly enjoying it. I know the selflessness part is weird. I don't even know what happened to the old me. It's crazy. He's gone.
It is. I remember same thing. Like Scotty got really sick in the US when we were there for the game. She was throwing up all night, the night of before my first day of competition. And I'm there in this last year. So 22. And she was throwing up everywhere nonstop for like a week. And all night I was up with her. And you know what? She just wanted her mum. And Maddie's like, look, I can bring her out here. And I'm like, this kid's 3, and maybe she just turned 4. And she's like, she just wants her mum. And I'm like, I'm here holding this kid's hair back. And I'm like, I do it over and over again. I'll go into that first day of competition tired and, struggling and whatever, because I've had no sleep. But I'm like, there's no substitute for the fact that this kid wants her mum. Like I have no problem with that. I'm like, it is what it is. Like you just know, it's chaos. Like, it's chaos, but it's still the best. But I think now more than ever, I'm actively working to get rid of anything of caring about what anyone thinks of what I do or how I am or whatever, because I know I have good intentions, and like I said, I like me, I like how I show up, and I know I try and improve the things that I'm not stoked about.
You present that way.
Oh, that's good.
You present that way 100%.
Not in like I'm perfect, but I know that I'm also
and
trying
not even like a fuck you. You present like, hey, this is me.
Yeah, and
you accept yourself.
And it's okay. Like it's okay. And so now I'm really trying to, like I said, mate, I'm like, let's lean into like what we know what our values are, because we've always kind of been aligned. But I'm like, let's really like put it down on paper. Like let's have conversations with people and go like, this is. Did you
do that? You put your values down on paper?
Yeah, we're in the process of it. Like, wow. I just kind of we literally have just been talking about it in the last couple of days. So it's funny you brought it up. But I was like, man, we need to like really go. We're like working on some kind of projects together and stuff at the moment. And I'm like, hey, as we go into this next phase and like evolution of like work and stuff we're doing, I'm like, it's really important that we put down what we're never willing to sacrifice. Like what is the most important thing? Like we fast forward, like I'm 100, he's 102. We're about to hold hands and die peacefully together. The dream, like some shit like that we've constructed. I'm like, what do we look back on? Like, how does that feel? And what do we want that to look like? Because, I can guarantee the last thing we're going to care about is like what kind of house we had, or, like anything like that. We're going to care about like, like he says it too, is like me and him have to be best friends forever. Like our kids are going to go and find their best friend and their soulmate one day, and then it's going to be me and him. So like we really like hone in on that and put a lot of time and love into that. And I'm like, and then we have to set that up so that we can be really clear, because I don't like the thought of handing that over to somebody else. And it is so true. Like if you don't know,
are you going to homeschool your kids?
This has been, anyone who knows me that's been around me is probably sick of me talking about schools. But look, our schools are not as bad as in the US from what I see. Like the system and stuff is not as bad. At the moment, Scotty's in a kindergarten program at a Christian school. Mm-hmm. We were very adamant on, we're in a position that we could pay for that. And we were not comfortable with the government schools, especially like through COVID and stuff like that. I grew up in the church. I'm not like heavily religious or anything now. Maddie went to a religious boarding school, and we love the values, and we like, I have grown up in the church. At church, I just don't like live in the church now or anything, but I do believe in a lot of the values and morals and all of that kind of stuff that they do. And so we've been really happy with that. So she could go to what we call prep, which is the start of school next year. She will still only be 4.5. So we made the decision to hold her back because I want her home with me and with her brother and, you know, to learn more home values. I still think she's a little person and it's too soon to go into that. And I'm trying to figure out what that looks like, because we've talked about my ideal scenario would be some sort of hybrid system of like a little bit like homeschool and then like a couple of days in some kind of like environment, because there's a lot that she's learned even in being around these other kids like that. So for instance, Maddie and I were like, you're going to go out into the world and you're going to have to deal with people. And I still want to instill an element of like resilience and understanding of how the world is when you go out into it. And I don't want to like have my children necessarily be too sheltered. There's like so many factors, right, that we're trying to like figure out what the right answer is. But then there were like a few things towards the end of this year. She's on holidays now from her kindy, where I was like, she had these relationships with some other kids, a couple little bratty, shitty ones, you know, like, and they were kind of saying certain things and like making her really uncomfortable. And it spruiked a lot of conversation for us with her. And then towards the end of the year, all of a sudden she started to show the way she started to show up then with other kids outside in her sports and things like that. And with us, you could see the value of those like conversations and that experience and how that played out being in that environment. I don't like it 5 days a week. I don't like it.
You mean in a positive way? Being around the shitty kids helped her in the sporting?
Yeah. And she's totally like, and just in life, like even I've noticed how she's like leveled up in the conversations that we've had to have with her about like, hey, just so you know, little things like someone will say that, you know, they don't like my shoes or they will, you know, whatever, like they'd be rude to each other as they do, like, or they tell each other stuff, and the conversations we have going, but just remember, you know, I said we had this conversation over and over. Different people like different things. That's been like a huge theme for us. And I'm like, that's okay. Or sometimes people are wrong. So I said, she'll go, this little girl said this at school. And I'll be like, that's not true, Bob. She goes, but she said. I said, I'm your mum and I promise I'll never tell you a fib. I'll never lie to you. And if I don't know something, we'll go and try and find out together. But I said, sometimes some people tell fibs and they tell fibs for, you know, different reasons, or maybe they didn't even know and they thought that was the right thing. And then we've talked about that kind of thing. And then the whole like, different people like different things. And then all of a sudden she starts coming out to me like, she'll constantly like, mom, watch this. And she'll do something and I'll go, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, that wasn't that cool, Bob. Like, and she's like, oh, and I'll be like, that's cool. I'm like, do you think it was cool? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's cool. I didn't think it was cool, but you did. So that's fine. And she'll go, yeah, mom, we just like different things, you know? And it'll be like, it's like little things like that in the evolution. And there's another example the other day I can't think of. And I said to Maddie, like, this has really paid off in these conversations. So yeah, I don't know. We've got a couple of options here. There's like a little independent, it's called the Village School. It's kind of like, it's sort of homeschooly, and it's like an independent place down the road where they do things like homeschool, but it's with other children and they go to the beach every day. And I'm trying to find, Maddie and I haven't landed on the right answer yet. We've got another 12 months to figure it out and we don't know. But at the moment, I don't think the right setup for us would be me homeschooling full time. So I don't know. We've explored like what it would look like then to have, there's programs around. I need to do a bit more research where like homeschool kids go and like join up with other homeschool kids. And then
there's a program called Kumon. They have it in Australia. You should look into it. KUMON.
Okay. I'll have a look at it.
And your daughter's old enough to go into it. And there's a reading and a math portion. And my kids do it. We homeschool our kids.
Mm-hmm.
But Avi did go to pre-K and K for, I want to say for 1 year or 2 years he did go, and then COVID happened, and then he was in a hybrid program like you were saying where he was supposed to go 2 days a week, but the school started getting weird, started sending home like some weird shit.
Yeah, and that's my
having
thing.
Some weird shit up around the outside of the school. I was like, whoa.
So like, and it's really area dependent here too. Like we are really lucky in the space that we're in. Like we're in a really good little community where we are, and there's a lot of like really like-minded people. And so my biggest thing is about the company she keeps. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing. I'm like, you'll learn to read and write and we're going to teach you and we're going to do all of that. But I also I just don't believe in like forcing kids to like do so much, like you have to be this and you have to do that, like, you know, but then there's an element too where we're like, look, we grew up in that system, and Maddie and I have still learned, because of our family values, we've still learned how to think outside the box and do things for ourselves.
Right.
And so we know that the majority of the work is done in the home anyway. And yeah, so we're still, I don't know, check back with me and I'll let you know what we figure out. But if every person I talk to, I ask as many questions as I can, and Maddie and I have questions about it every single week, trying to find the right answer. And I've probably overcomplicated it, but it's really important to me.
Yeah. It's a trippy thing.
Yeah. But
we never think about going back, just so you know.
Yeah.
Never even a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is how's your fit? What's your CrossFit career games thing look like? Are you done? Are you officially retired? Are you in the drug pool? Are you in the drug testing pool?
Yeah, so they sent me the thing like the whole time I was pregnant. I never applied, and then I think I replied to the last one they sent me. I am not.
So you're in the drug testing pool, which means that you're still like I think Josh Bridges is still in the drug testing pool.
I think they just keep you in it unless you ask not to be.
Okay.
I've only been tested out of like in Australia once out of season though, in the 10 years or something that I've been on that. So
I'm just wondering what your commitment is. That's my way of taking a temperature, not so much to judge them.
No. So I literally, I get an email and it goes, report your whereabouts. If we decide to test you and you're not in one of those places, then you'll get penalized. But I haven't been tested out of season. I've only been tested once, and then I get tested obviously every competition. I'm not officially retired, but I explain it this way: is my mind and my commitment to like the top position is retired, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because obviously I have more important things going on in my life, and it's like athletes are like super disposable, right? And you know, at any
what's
minute,
a different word you would use besides important? I'm okay with important, and I believe you. Is there another word you can think of besides important?
That are things that are important to me.
Why aren't you? Could you if you wanted to? Let me ask you that. Could you if you wanted to?
Yeah. Look, so I look at it this way. I explain it as like, you know, like a pie graph. You know, a pie graph, you know, and it's like broken into all the percentages and the pieces of the pie.
Yeah.
I go, I've got 100% of my pie, and that's me, and that's how much I have of me to give.
Yeah.
And I'm like, over my life, those pieces change, food get added in, you know, some get removed and they change size depending. And then I'm like, there's only so much of me and my kids and my family and keeping a roof over their head and our life and my health and my happiness and just me generally being me, like take up most of that. And then so the piece that I have left for competition is smaller. I still love CrossFit and I still love to work out. But I've shifted my priorities and my pieces to allow more space for other things and less space for that. So that's probably the best way I could explain it. And so at the moment,
do you miss it?
No.
You don't want to be back inside the stadium, people screaming your name, going batshit crazy, all the tension and pressure and.
Nah, look, I think I don't know. I've always said that I would ride the wave. Like I became an athlete by accident. I didn't go, I'm going to be a CrossFit Games athlete. It was an accident. I just said I'd ride the wave as whenever what felt right, I would do. And if it didn't feel right, I wouldn't do it. I love being a mom, love being a fit mom, love training at home. Like it's simple, but I like it. And that's all that matters. I am at the moment, haven't actually like announced it or anything, but I am looking at being in a team for the 2024 season. We're waiting on confirmation of one person, a female, as a yes or no as to what that looks like.
Would I know any of those people?
Yeah.
And is it an Australian team?
Yeah.
And whose idea was it?
Maddie's actually. Hubby's. So he said to me, it started off with, I was like, I always say, like, look, every year I take it 1 year at a time. I'm not going to tell you in advance what I will or won't do because I don't know how I'll feel. I don't know how baby number 2 will turn out or what my body will do, all those things. And he was talking to me and said, like, look, you got 2 kids. you know, are doing a lot of work and you're with them a lot. And he goes, you love training and love being in the gym. And he goes, I think it could be really beneficial for you to like maybe explore the team option just as like a fun social life, to get out and just to do something and be around people and not have it. Because I said, I don't want the commitment. I don't want the commitment of that. I don't want to have to show up for 1 million hours to train every day. Like that's dead to me. I can't do that. Like, I don't want to do that. And for what? Like, there's not enough money, and it's like, you know, there's not enough. Like, so I'll do enough for the love. And I was like, all right, I see where you're going.
I like that. I was able to hear that. I could get my head wrapped around that. Do enough for the love.
Yeah. Do enough for the love.
People who also want to do enough for the love. So some commitments, like, you know,
you still show up, you still
dial in the eating, maybe not, you know, drink for a little bit and like push harder. And if you make it to semifinals and you get to perform in Wall and Gong or whatever that place is, you get to perform in the Wall and Gong.
Yeah, and if not, it hasn't taken anything away from my life, and it's fine. I was going to stay fit and do stuff anyway, and I just be open. Like, this is, you know, with the team, this is what I have to offer, and the people that I'm kind of aligning with are very much. So I was like, my two goals, my two like things that I had to hit to be in a team that I said, I was like, one, like my conditions is the word I'm looking for. One is I was like, I don't want to be like totally shit. Like, I still want to like be fit and, you know, do pretty well and try. I don't want to just like totally fluff around. And two, I just want to have a good time. And like, so if it's not a good time and there's not a good vibe with the people and we don't have banter and it's not fun, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to do anything too serious. I don't want it to be stressful. So the people that like I've connected with are very much in the same space as me, but in different ways, in like where they're at in life and how much they have to give, and that they've got other pieces of their pie that they need to focus on, and they've got a certain amount of love to give. Still love the sport and still love
James Newberry, is he one of them?
Yes. And
what a great, you guys perfect for each other.
Yeah. So he
wants to go hard, but he got shit to do. But he wants to go hard.
Yep,
he don't want to go out there and look like a jackass. He maybe win an event or two, but he ain't gonna be stressed out if he doesn't.
Yep, and that's the thing is I'm like, look, I still want to be fit. I love training. I love what it does to me physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things. You know, like
he's a healthy person to be around. I think that's healthy.
Yeah, we're very much aligned. Like, he's got his business goals. He's training like for the same thing, for the love and for what he has to give, and he loves we're very much like in the same space of like, you know, we love to have
Gold Coast? Is he in the Gold Coast? Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he's only like, I don't know, half an hour away from me, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit further north. So yeah, we're just trying to like finalize what that looks like. I'm like, I'm still building back from like having a baby. I'm like, I don't need to be fit yet, not even for the open or whatever. So I'm making sure I do my due diligence, take care of my body first.
Are you crazy healthy right now?
I'm honestly, one of the healthiest I've been in my life, I would say. It all started with, I'm really healthy when I'm pregnant because I feel like I've got one opportunity to hand off really good things to this human. Like they've only got one shot. So I'm like, this isn't about me. This is about the baby. And I'm like, it's really important that I give my child everything I can. So I'm really healthy in pregnancy. I did, like I said, I went down the traditional Chinese medicine route postpartum. It was the best thing I ever did. I absolutely loved it. Like all these herbs and teas and like just really holistic. Like I loved it. And I was like, I feel so good. It's like cheating. Like I feel like I cheated postpartum because I'm like, I feel so good. I'm so like, you know, when you feel good from the inside and it comes through on the outside. Like I just.
Yeah. Were you jaundice at all after any of your births? Or anemic or any of that stuff? No. Okay.
No, I don't think so. No,
you say it's so nice. I'm always like, if you drink coffee or alcohol when you're pregnant, you're a shit mom. And you're like, well, I took and people are like, God, Sevi, you're a dick. Just let people do their own thing. And you're like, well, I chose for my I only had one chance and I wanted to. So much nicer the way you say it.
Yeah, look, I have, where I stand is I have like really firm values, I guess, and very firm beliefs on like what I prioritize, but also everybody else has got their own and it's none of my business. I don't care. As long as it doesn't affect me and my family, I don't care. As long as you don't
I don't care if they're shit parents either, by the way. I still like you. If like, I fed my kids hot tamales the other day. I'm a shit parent. But I accept it. But I tell other people they're a shit parent and they're like, that's so offensive. I'm like, well, you are. Just smoke cigarettes in the car with your kid and the windows are rolled up. You suck.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I still like you. I still like you.
Yeah, that's pretty shit. But there's obviously like everyone has their like. There's a lot of things. There's probably people even more extreme than me, and they go like, "Oh, you're a shit parent." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I'm like, I'm not a perfect one. Yeah, I'm not a perfect one, that's for sure. But I'm actively like, there's a lot of pieces to that too, where I'm like, you know, I'm human, you know. But
you unplug the router at night?
No. Shit parent.
Oh, shit parent.
Yeah,
we only I have 5. I only plug the one. I only unplug one.
I want to get one of those.
I'm 4/5 shit.
I want to get one of those things. Have you seen? I keep getting ads for those things that like balance out like the EMF like stuff in your house, and you can put them on your phone, and you can get like this big plate.
Oh,
like
yeah. Supposedly put your phone in there and it won't ring. I wish.
No, they don't. They don't mess with. Apparently, they neutralize the radiation. And yeah, so Ben Greenfield was like advertising something, and I don't
know if I trust that dude. That dude's way into nicotine, and have you ever fucked with nicotine? Nicotine is the most addictive substance on earth. It's crazy. Yeah. And he fucks with nicotine. I don't trust anyone who fucks with nicotine.
Yeah, I don't mess with stuff. I don't look.
Your skin's perfect. You really don't mess with anything, do you? Your skin you have very nice skin.
Thank you. I try. Yeah. I try, and we've been talking about that too, actually, about people's like hormones and crazy stuff when they work out too hard. But I've always been super aware of that and like really taking care of myself. But I try and do everything as like natural and normal.
When you drink, do you drink tequila or vodka only, since it's clear?
Look, I am tequila girl through and through, and I have. Maddie will make me a couple of coconut margaritas a week. Like once a week we might have like 2 coconut margaritas. I've got 2 drinks in me, and that's about it. And I'm more than happy to have that in my life. And you know what? Every time we have like 2 margaritas and we sit around and we have these crazy chats and we unpack all this stuff, we get into it, and it's such a cool little like, I don't know, it's just like a little thing we do. It's like
he makes them.
Yeah, he makes them, and yeah, it's good. It's a good time. I love that. I have a margarita tattooed on my bum cheek, so I love them that much. But
you do have one tattooed there already.
Yeah. Oh. So I do love a margarita. I do love tequila, but
I've switched to tequila. I was doing spicy margaritas, and I'm too old.
Yeah.
I just need to do tequila and soda water. That's it.
Yeah, I could do that either. I could do that too. Tequila, soda, and lime, like a bit of lime juice in there, fresh lime. Could do that.
That makes it like you're not an alcoholic when you put lime. I just drink it without the lime.
Yeah.
I'm doing carnivore now.
Oh, are you? I don't.
I'm a month in.
Yeah. How do you feel? I don't love it. I don't love the concept of it, but I would probably need to try it.
I'm dragging ass, but I feel fucking amazing. I feel and look amazing. The best I've looked in a year. I just can't even believe it. I know you can't tell, but you should have seen me 2 months ago. A fucking mess.
Hey, you'd know. I think that there's definitely benefits to it from what I know, and I would need to learn a lot more. But I think there's definitely benefits on like I don't know, almost how do you say it, like with certain with condition hormonally and resetting, and just from like a lot of stuff that we like can potentially overconsume or overload or whatever. I think there's a lot of layers to that as to why it can be great and why it can feel great. I still have this like, when I say I always go back to nature, I go, well, like what foods have been presented to us in abundance at certain stages. And so I still think that the way that this is my personal opinion, is like that we were designed to live is that we would go and we would stumble across like, you know, a bunch of berries and whatever, the things that grow in abundance that are really easy and that don't have phytochemicals, that aren't trying to, you know,
I love vegetables. My body loves vegetables and fruit.
Yeah, I do.
My body loves that shit.
But I think from a healing perspective, and if there's anything that potentially needs to be like cleansed, or even just I don't think we should do anything every day. So I think that's where it could probably benefit, is that if people are eating the same thing for breakfast and the same thing, and they're eating at the same time, I don't love that. I think that it should be a lot more flowy, and there should be periods of where it's just meat, and then periods where you're like even seasonally, right? Like,
yeah, I'll probably just do it for 3 months. I'm shooting for 2 months, and then probably like a bonus month.
Yeah, and you know what? You'll come back into the summer and all of those fruits will be in abundance, and that's kind of like whatever's season, whatever's local to you. Like I eat like seasonally and locally, whatever's kind of like in my vicinity. I've got my fruit and veg just got delivered before. Like they, you know, it's whatever. Like sure, I might want plums and peaches in that month, but they're not growing right now, so I don't need it.
You're a real dirt twirler. I didn't realize that. It's pretty cool.
A dirt twirler? Is that like a natural?
It's like a hippie, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you just sprinkle some dirt. Like just the breast milk and dirt. Those are your two go-to medicinal elements.
I need to put that on a hat or something, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you barefoot a lot? Are you barefoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I only put on shoes like if the job requires shoes. If it doesn't require shoes, why would I put on shoes? Like I'm just barefoot. My kids, same with my kids. All the shoes stay in the car. Why would you need shoes unless you were going to do something that required shoes? But like going out to the restaurant like doesn't require shoes until they yell at you.
Yeah, my daughter's always barefoot, and then it's always like if we're in an area where maybe people have like broken glass or it's hot or whatever, then like put your shoes on for a safety point of view. But like, I had people joking around because like the first while after having my son, I was like doing just workouts like in my pajama, whatever I was wearing, man. I'd be like, all right, this kid's asleep for a second and he's not attached to me. I'm just gonna like get anything done. And I'd never wear shoes or whatever. And people would be like, are you wearing shoes in your training yet? And I'd be like, I've worn shoes 3 days in a row when I worked out, you know, leveled up. Like, but like just depending on what I'm doing, but I'm not, I mean, I live on the coast too. So we just, you know, we're always at the beach and just kind of cruising around. I don't know, like, yeah, it's nice to like I'm not like put together. I don't like to be put together. I like to be just chill.
What time is it where you're at?
2:30 in the afternoon.
Well, thank you. I was like, I was planning on just like talking to you for like 15 minutes or 30 minutes, like just to catch up. I'd be just like, hey, what's up? What are you doing? You
That's
working
not possible
out?
with me.
And then I got a birth story. That was crazy.
Yeah.
One of my sponsors is BirthFit.
Oh yeah. I honestly, I had so many people like reach out to me about like helping with like my postpartum or labor, and I got just really overwhelmed. There was too many, and I was like, look, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm just going to go find someone that I'm going to do what I did last time. But yeah, that's great. There'll be a lot of people that ask, and a lot of people that ask me like for resources and stuff. I'm not like qualified to tell. I kind of do a lot of things by feel, but
these people are cool, BirthFit people. They're fully aligned. They do the whole gambit. They'll walk women through the whole gambit of whatever, you know, what they want, but they're fully aligned with like, hey, you can do this. This isn't a fucking medical procedure. Like you're made for this. You can, you know, they're sweet. I'm stoked on them. You may even know the lady. Do you know Lance Cantu? He was on he worked for CrossFit. He was on the seminar staff. He's a games athlete, maybe in 2009.
And maybe, I don't think so. I'd maybe know if I saw him, but I'm not too sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's the women need more of that. So I hope people see that, because I get a lot of people ask and I'm like, oh, I'm not qualified enough to tell you, but I can tell you what I do.
Yeah, you're qualified. Hey, thank you. Once again, thank you. Thanks for sharing your birth story. Thanks for what you post online. You're always welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know you are busy, and I know you value your time, and I know other people have asked you to come on, and you're not an easy catch. So I really appreciate how easy you make it always for the Sevan podcast.
Well, likewise, I'd like to show up for the no bullshit people. I don't turn up for the small talk. So
all right.
I appreciate it. It's been nice to chat. Right. Nice to chat.
All right. Tell Maddie I said what's up. Have a good one.
Will do. Bye.
All right. Bye. Not Kara Sanders, but Cara Saunders. Not Kara Webb, not Cara Webb, but Cara Saunders. Who knew? Did you guys all know when you see all the images and shit popping up that Caleb's back there? Hey guys, I fuck with Caleb too. Every once in a while, like I'll say something and then I'll rush over to try to pull that up before him. And like there was a good one this morning. Like I thought we pulled it up. When I pulled it up, I saw you smile because you thought you got me. We pulled something up at the same time.
And it was the exact same website too.
Yeah, same website, same image. And I thought it was mine. I'm like, got you, fucker. And then I was like, oh, fuck, he's controlling it. It is. But it's so unfair when I do it because you've done like 10 in a row. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to try to sneak one in here and get it before Caleb. Nope.
Always ready.
Oh, shit. The one thing in my notes that I wanted to ask her about. Darn it. She has this sponsor that I wanted to ask her about. Son of a bitch. I've seen these guys on Instagram. It's this Vuli play. And it looks like she has this for her kids. This is, damn, I wanted to ask her about this. Okay, next time.
Yeah, I got to get her back on.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool. It's not easy finding a good monkey bar set. Look how stable that thing looks.
Yeah, it's not super expensive either, and it's massive.
Yeah, it's not super expensive. You're right. Are they Australian? That sucks. If look, followed by car. Oh, here, follow. Got him.
Yeah,
Guys, you should sponsor me. Put this thing in my backyard, lickety split. Look at this trampoline.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Dude, having that basketball hoop there, though, looks crazy. Kids would be trying to dunk on that shit, right?
Definitely.
And like you jump up underneath it and bang your head on it.
Looks like it's got a rubber hoop or like a padded hoop.
So it won't kill you. It'll only maim you.
Yeah. You won't hang yourself. You'll just concuss yourself.
Trampoline business is crazy. Lawsuits must be nuts.
I've been getting a lot of reels or suggested videos on Instagram about how to put one in the ground.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why they think I'm gonna do that, but
holy shit. I think Froning might have one of those.
In-ground trampoline?
Yeah. God, that's sick. I want that.
That's cool.
An in-ground trampoline? Is that hard to do?
No, not really. I think digging the hole is probably the hardest part. And then you have to level it out and put a low foundation down.
You think it's just a trampoline put in the ground? That's it?
No, yeah, absolutely. That's what it is.
And then you kind of got to cut the hole perfect because you don't want like some gap that someone falls into next to the trampoline, right?
Right.
And if you fuck that up, it's fucked up. You're not like patching that side.
You could patch it for sure because it's just grass. It's grass.
No, because once that dirt comes loose there, I bet you the dirt comes loose there anyway. It just starts crumbling in.
Yeah, if you don't put a retaining wall up, for sure.
Oh, that's what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to put a retaining wall?
Yeah, they have like, I think some of the trampolines they'll come with a retaining wall. So it'll come with just some sort of heavy duty wall pieces that'll go the circumference of the trampoline and hold up everything around it.
I'm looking at the 10x17 Pro Lime Iena ground trampoline. Oh, fuck it. I need to see a video. What the fuck am I doing looking at a do-it-yourself backyard ground trampoline? Oh, this guy's got a fucking tractor. Oh, shit, dude. This looks hard.
Yeah. I mean, the digging the hole part is the hard part, for sure.
Let me show you. Let me see if I can. This guy has a fucking tractor. This is like, your dad has to be a contractor. How did it go from that? Wait.
That was way too fast. Back up. What?
I forgot to film the metal sheeting before backfilling the dirt. You jackass. That was the one thing I wanted to see.
That's the whole video. You didn't even get that part.
Welcome to the restoration.
Yeah,
okay.
like that.
Yeah, that's more my pace. That other dad had like a tractor and shit. Okay. Oh, he steel piped that.
I think that's the trampoline frame.
Oh, and he just put it on top of the... Holy shit, that's close to the...
It's really close to a bunch of cinder blocks.
Wait, he's cutting that with a mat knife with the trampoline under there?
Yeah, the little turf section.
Wow, he's going all out. Oh, and he did it barefoot. Holy shit. This is like a real dad.
Yeah. Damn.
Hey, you know right away he wishes he did a bigger trampoline.
Yeah, that's kind of a bitch-ass trampoline, to be honest.
Moy, hi, good evening. What the fuck am I doing still awake? The day I realized that I was fat was when I was on a trampoline with my little sister and I accidentally landed on her elbow and broke it.
I think that happens if you're not fat, too.
Yeah, you want to put gravel under there so you have drainage. Yeah. Country girl. Janelle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Giggity.
I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday.
Giggity. Hey, I did a workout video today.
I saw that. I almost texted you and I said, is this for real? Because it was like a premiere.
Yeah, it's crazy. I watched the premiere when I was in my kids' jiu-jitsu and I was looking at the comments, and like people are just fucking idiots.
About what do you mean? About what?
Like people in the live chat are like, oh, I don't know if he had depth on that dip. I'm like, people are like, his chest is tight because he doesn't do CrossFit. I'm like, listen, motherfucker, there's not one fucking person who goes deeper on bar dips than me. Not one person in the fucking audience. Did you see how fucking low I go? I didn't even know I go that low. That's why my muscle ups are so insane. Or someone's like, he's breathing heavy after one round. Motherfucker, I told you I just did 100 calories on the assault bike. And then they're like, no rep. And I'm like, yeah. Do you guys fucking know that I was in charge of fucking main site for years? You ding-dongs? Years. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm fucking scaling after fucking 5 rounds. Look at that depth.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty good.
Someone else is like, you can raise that pull-up bar. How about fuck you?
If you raise that pull-up bar, your head's in the ceiling.
I know. I just all the comments were just, you don't go fucking lower. You go lower on my dick.
I go lower.
God, it was such a nice podcast with Miss Saunders. Now it's gone to hell. Sevan back on the devil's lettuce. No, are you kidding me? Never.
You're almost doing chest to bar strict.
I know. That's how I work out. Just fucking, I'm chill. Just chill.
With all your one wheels.
Should have been ring dips. I know. I keep referring to them to ring dips. I don't even think I can do one ring dip. Caleb traded a bottle of firewater and a pack of smokes to the local Native Americans for that jacket and 100 acres of land.
How do you think I got the Shadican?
The Shadican.
This is all they left me.
Anyway, I tried to the workout. I should have done a better intro. I'm new to this game. I should have explained that I was going up against Andrew Hiller and Craig Ritchie.
Yeah, I'm sure people are confused as to why you're doing 10 rounds of 7 bar dips and 5 pull-ups like everybody else is.
Hey, I want to show you something that you've seen already. I want to show everyone. Listen, for those of you who stuck around this long, I got a crazy special treat for you. I can't show you a lot. It's nice. I can't show you a lot, but I can show you some. This is the trailer to the behind the scenes. I'm going to show you the first 30 seconds. Yeah, 10. Well, really, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be as many dips and pull-ups, 7 dips and 5 pull-ups, unbroken, as fast as you can, 10 rounds. I knew I was going to try to game it. I thought for some reason I could do around a minute. I was a jackass. Didn't do it. Okay, here we go. This is the trailer to the behind the scenes. It's I
got us live on Instagram too, so whoever's on there gets to see it as well.
Oh, that's crazy. I could show the whole thing and then just clip it off at the end, like when it's done. But I'm afraid I just don't want anyone. I don't know. I feel like I'm cheating on Sousa. Like I haven't talked to Sousa about this, and this is just a rough. Don't get crazy, anyone. Okay, you guys ready? This is only I'm only showing 30 seconds of this. Okay, ready? It's a 2.5 minute trailer. God, that you guys are gonna love the behind the scenes this year. Okay, ready? Here we go. Oh wait, let me pull this down. What is this nonsense up here? Okay. What do I push? Oh, play.
A short-ass cameraman going above and beyond? I knew in a moment it must be Sevan.
What about the cam? Let's flip the whole thing around. No? Okay.
And more rapid than eagles, his team all came as he shouted on Sousa in each member's name.
She told told you to put your big boy panties on and go talk to her.
Really?
Yeah. She asked if you were scared of her.
What did you tell her?
Probably.
And so to their cameras his team soon flew, with hard drives full of space, and Sevan did too.
My brother told me, he asked Mariah, like, are you here because Sevan doesn't dare to come here? And she said yes.
But I just went over there and I bought some big boy panties.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you need
All
those.
right, all right, all right, all right. That's enough of that nonsense. All right, all right.
That was way more than 30 seconds.
Oh my God. I talked to Laura Horvat. You guys are so lucky. Holy shit. Just hidden here at the end of some obscure video no one's going to see. So that's good. Only 181 of you see it. Thanks, Mason. You guys are going to be stoked. It's 14 or 15 episodes of just complete. It's like just a yearbook, flipping through a yearbook. Big boy panties. Big boy. I put on my big boy panties. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Call her right now. Chrissy, thank you. Oh, Chrissy, it's been a while. Jeez, where you been? Thank you. Gifting your big boy laced panties. Oh, yes, thank you. Call her up. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I freaking love you guys too. Okay. Easy, Rambler, easy. You can't just talk to every hot chick. Easy. Settle down. Hey, Chrissy. Hey. Settle down. Yeah. Oh, she's here every day. All right. Pay more attention. All right. Yep. Show's over. See you guys tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we have Nathaniel. Nathaniel's been on the show before. He was the guy who walked on his hands for a year, basically. He got the crazy forearms. And he's been doing this other thing where he's fucking around with a bar now. So we'll check in with him. Nathaniel Nolan. And listen, on Friday. No. On Saturday. No. Oh, when's Jennifer Say? I don't see her on here anymore. Oh, that's not for a while. That's not till January 2nd. Okay, fine. Okay. Tomorrow, Nathaniel Nolan is on. It's going to be a good show. All right. Patrick Rios, great shows. More Aussies. Fair enough. Oh, Patrick Rios is the guy. I think he edited the trailer with Will Brandstetter. Patrick, good to see you, buddy. All right. Love you guys.